Morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay. I've been hearing voices that are not quite energetic. Are you guys excited? Okay, excited to have this day over finally. So my name is Mapes Quinones. I am a lecturer here at the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, and I will be moderating this morning's leg of the colloquium. Okay, so good morning again. Magandang umaga. And
Good morning.
good morning to everyone joining us online. So we have participants online also. So we're expecting participants from maybe your family, friends, our colleagues from the different parts of the world. I'd like to welcome you all to the third Transdisciplinary Public Social Development Colloquium. This is the first time that we're doing this in a hybrid manner, having held our first two public colloquia online, I think, over the past 2 years. So I'd like to also start by acknowledging the efforts that the behind the scenes team have placed into coming up with this hybrid event program. So I think some of you have also been here for what? For 2 nights, for 1 week, for over a month. For some, I think longer because you've been working on your projects here in the Philippines. So welcome everyone. And thank you to everyone for coming in, for tuning in, and also for those working behind the scenes. Thank you to Doc Melis, Isa. I think you've been working quite closely with Miss Isa, and then we have Yuan, Denise, Miss Shona, and our IT team, and of course our colleagues and faculty at the Department of Social and Anthro. So thank you everyone for tirelessly working on the presentations and the preparations, and for coming here early on a Saturday morning. Okay. So, as most of us in the audience know, this event is a continuing collaboration between the Ateneo de Manila University Department of Sociology and Anthropology in the Philippines, the University for Peace in Costa Rica, the Nippon Foundation in Japan, and the Asian Peace Builders Scholarship. This morning and throughout the day, we will be hearing how our most recent cohort of graduate scholars from the Master in Transdisciplinary Social Development implemented your capstone projects in different countries throughout South and Southeast Asia. Okay, so is that right? You were in different parts of, the region starting when? July? Some of you started this year, July, September. So throughout this, the past few months, you've been working tirelessly on the field, implementing your capstone projects, learning, working in teams. So it's quite an adventure, and I'm all glad that you were able to experience that. Um, you are our future development workers, and we know that this is going to enrich your experience and your practice eventually. Of course, I think the best person to think about the MTSDV program and the Asian Peace Builder Scholarship and to formally open today's colloquium is none other than the chairperson of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. I'd like to briefly introduce our department chair. Have you met him? Okay, I'm glad that you have. This is also the second time that I'm meeting Dr. Joel, but for all of us, for some of us who might not be too familiar, Dr. Joel holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Social and Cultural Anthropology from the University of Oxford in the UK. He earned his MA in Anthropology from Xavier University in Cagayan de Oro in Mindanao. And his research interests and practice include visual and material anthropology, anthropology of conflict and displacement, rooted cosmopolitanism and interreligious relations, and anthropological practice and historical narratives. Dr. Canuday, Dr. Joel, along with his co-editor, Mr. Joselito Sescon, very recently received the 2023 Outstanding Book or Monograph Award from the National Academy of Science and Technology. They worked on, they had a book project on transfiguring Mindanao. So it's a Mindanao reader. So it's a compilation of transdisciplinary work from from different disciplines, from different fields, from different scholars. So just like you, and just like, today we're gathered here, you're going to talk about your experiences in the field. So I'd like to also share a quote from his profile that appears in the Solis project website. Dr. Canuday says that the strange thing about anthropology is that while it makes the unfamiliar familiar and the commonplace perplexing, it also enriches the means by which to research about contradictions and diversity. And I think during your field activities, your capstone project, you had this experience, you had these, different interactions that made you face to face with these contradictions and experience diversity. So with that, let us all give a round of applause for Dr. Jose Joel P. Canuday.
Thank you, Mayflower. I hope that wasn't a eulogy. Um, okay, good morning, everyone. And probably I've already said this countless of times to some of you whom I met. Welcome to your home university, the Ateneo. You are a student of this university, and as should be, must be also engaging in a way that fits of what it becomes an Atenean. So we are all Ateneans now. So you're not just UP students, you're not just APS, you're not just a member of your NGO or a citizen of your country, but you are also Atenean, just like me and you. What I'll do probably is to talk a little bit more about the program that you are in, because this is really the first time that we would be facing face to face. And some of you may have also been wondering what exactly is transdisciplinary social development, even though you've already gone through the course. And I know that this is a mouthful of words because this has not been a traditional discipline in academic setting, and it was also not a traditional development paradigm. So it's good for us probably to start this public colloquium to have another grounding or another reminder of what transdisciplinarity means and how it relates to social development. The UNESCO, United Nations Education Scientific Council, has a program of it, under a program it has defined transdisciplinarity as an approach wherein we aim to dissolve the boundaries between academic expert engagement or knowledge production, as well as the community, cultural bearers, community leaders, social practitioners, understanding of development, understanding of reality, understanding of society, understanding of problems. So it's dissolving that boundaries. That's the aim. You are in the academe doing your study in academic way, but our aim is to really dissolve that boundary. Why do we need to dissolve that boundary? Because we all know that the world has been complex, and it's becoming more complex with the problem that we are we're facing today. With this complexity, it requires several approaches, and one approach um, cannot just resolve the complexities and the problems that we're facing. It will require several brains doing it, but not only brains, approaches, methodology, philosophy, thinking, and as well as insights into it. And every understanding of reality is important in this transdisciplinary lens. So in effect, the knowledge coming from an indigenous community, indigenous person out at the ends of the world, at the margins of a forest land, is as important as the knowledge coming from, let's say, the dons and professors at Oxford or at Ateneo, for that matter. The knowledge coming from government agencies is as important and as valuable as the knowledge coming from the ends of the villages out in the margins of society. So we're trying to mobilize knowledge to come up with a better world and better understanding of the world today. That's the training. That's the hope that the program wishes to impart with you. And we're hoping, we're trying to concretize that in within the principle, within a practice that we often refer to as co-production of knowledge, co-benefits of whatever outputs this knowledge offer, and also a co-ownership of all of this engagement. If you remember fully well from the very first that we all met, this has already been the emphasis of the program, that we need to co-produce knowledge. We need to establish the co-benefits of the partnership within the purview of transdisciplinarity, wherein we were trying to really dissolve knowledge boundaries, and that requires partnerships, that requires engagement, and not only a partnership towards one project, but a partnership wherein we meet as person, as fellow other of the partners that will be engaging. And if you would recall, if you would remember, this has been the emphasis day one, that you need to build this partnership. And we're hoping that that partnership will not just stay as a partnership between a development worker and a community personnel, but a friendship, an engage people to people, person to person relationship, so to speak. Because then and only then that we can probably truly come up with a proper development paradigm and peace building approaches and mechanism. I'm emphasizing this because this is the expectation for today's colloquium, and also the expectation for your paper, that we establish that very idea, that we not only engage with people, we not only produce projects, we not only implement projects and come up with an output, come up with an understanding and analysis, that at the very heart of it is an engagement that can last long. Now, I'm also emphasizing this, and this is now honest talk with you in relation to the colloquium and your paper, and I'm stating this as a way of expressing encouragement, expressing as well challenges, or challenging you, and then also raising the standards of engagement. I read through most of the paper, not all. Some of you had done really well, good output within the frames of co-production, co-creation, and co-engagement, and had elicited and teased out new ways, new paradigm, new approaches in engaging the world, and also in raising the development engagement. But as I've said, this is also honest talk with you. Some of the work needs a lot of improvements, so to speak. Some of you have done well, but several of this also needs um, a, a little bit more thinking, a little bit more engagement, but not just from the intellectual level, not just from the level of we're in. We just want to go through this and finish it off, the entire program, but to be really as sincere in the quest for co-production and co-benefits of knowledge, and as sincere in engaging with a friend, engaging with a partner, engaging with people. As I say that, I as was saying earlier, I say that as a challenge for all of you, including those who had done well, and you can probably see that in the reaction coming from the panelists later on. That no matter if you do it well and you do it that needs improvement, everyone needs to raise the level of engagement. Why? As I've said, because the world is quite complex, and we need new ways, new forms, new values to engage with it. This is also a brutal honest talk. To some degree, some of the output are disappointing, to say the least. But I'm also saying that, as I repeat, as a way to challenge you to do better. And to do better, not just for the sake of passing this course, but really to achieve the principles that we are trying to get out in the world. that we do more with our partners, we do more with our friends who are our partners. The onus is on us. And this engagement is not just it's not just an academic exercise, as I was saying, but this is a way to build a better world. And you're coming out, you're in the final stage of your training as future development workers and peace builders. And I think the development world and the peace building world needs people who are more committed beyond just finishing a project, beyond just finishing a paper, beyond just finishing an engagement, but really thinking through it, going forward, moving forward, not only with enthusiasm, but with empathy, with the ability to engage people and engage them in a friendly way, encounter them in a friendly way, so we would have all a better engagement, a better tomorrow. Again, I'm raising this. If I only have a glass to toast you on this matter, because I know that you will do well in this presentation, and you would do well in thinking through and reflecting on what I just said in relation to your paper. But I hope that you would not only be doing it in relation to your paper, but in relation to the way you do development and peace building work beyond the program. We're thinking ahead. We're not just thinking this program. It has always been our emphasis to all those done through the MTSDEV and APS program. That what we're doing here, it goes through a training, but what we're really hoping is that you apply this beyond the APS program. Because if it's only up to the APS program, then the program fails. The ultimate test of the program is that you're able to take these values, take this orientation, take this engagement, take this commitment beyond the walls of Ateneo or UPs for that matter, as you go through your professional lives. I'll end there. I've been preaching like a priest, although we are in a priestly community. But I hope that you would take this on with a heart and with a challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joel. So, are we up to the challenge? Okay, so everybody's up to the challenge, and it's streamed online. So it's recorded, it's documented. So we all expect you to rise up to the challenge, and you bring yourselves, you bring your best selves here when you present. You bring your best selves when you revise your manuscripts, and you read through, or you recall the comments of your examiners. And of course, when you finally finish the program and go on to your different worlds as peace builders, as development workers, as negotiators, we expect that after this program, that is where we will see more results. Okay, so we will be listening to your stories, your development stories from the field, while we will also be witnessing the insightful exchanges as we hear from your panel of examiners. I'm sure that your examiners went through the manuscripts that you submitted and are also excited with their own questions. Okay, so are you ready? So just to briefly run through the program, we have organized today's colloquium into two main clusters. The morning cluster is about partnering for disaster resilience, youth capacitation, and empowerment, while the afternoon cluster, which will be moderated by my colleague, Attorney Justin Nicole Torres, is about co-production, co-benefits for gender mainstreaming, sustainable environmental practices, and tourism and empowerment. So each of the 10 groups, 5 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon, will be talking about the capstone intervention projects that were implemented throughout a month, I think, or a month or so, throughout different countries in South and Southeast Asia. So our cohort of 29 students, whom we're all very happy to meet in the flesh, come from how many countries? Okay, so we have from Cambodia, Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Japan, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia. So I think, is this the first time that you're meeting each other face to face? Okay, so good for you because this is the first time that I'm meeting you face to face. It's good that you've been getting to know each other and that you are already building, teams. The teams that you have for this, cohort can be, can eventually form your networks, your future networks when you come out into the field when you work. Okay, and move on. Okay, so guided by your graduate school mentors, you all navigated different fields as you worked with NGOs, right? NGOs, schools, community groups, community leaders to co-create, to co-produce, introduce, and implement participatory approaches to development initiatives. Some of these projects are in the areas of youth, including migrant youth empowerment, sexual and reproductive health and rights, student well-being, gender awareness advocacy, environmental education, waste management, sustainable tourism, social enterprise development. So a whole range of topics, a whole range of interesting development areas. And this morning, we will be covering the following topics. So we have designing and conducting a leadership skills development program for community mobilizers of Clarissa Project in Bangladesh. So is the group here? Okay, so everyone's here. So a round of applause for the group. Okay, not yet. Okay, sige, you will be presenting in a while. This will be presented by Akihide Toda, Mikako Nemoto, and Nadira Udayakumari Wijsinghe. Okay. Our examiners are Dr. Wilfredo Torres III, sitting at the back, but he'll come over in a while, as the primary advisor. And we also have Dr. Joel Canuday as a reader and Dr. Melis Navarra as third panelist. And we'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Carl Russell Reyes as co-advisor. Okay, next we will have Empowering Youth Inter-Ethnic Peace Builders in Cambodia. And the team is comprised of Sachi Soklin Uy, Panawan Wanotaya Pitak Min. Okay, and the examiners are Dr. Glenda Wee, who I believe is joining us online. Okay, Dr. Wee. And then Dr. Willie Torres III is also here again, and Dr. Joel as the third panelist. We also have Art Milio as co-advisor. The third is Youth Sense, empowering Burmese migrant youths with mental health and psychosocial support training in Meso, Thailand. And this will be presented by Arkar Mao, May Yamon Kiao, and Zorine Agustin. Okay, the examiners are Dr. Tanya Udin as the primary advisor, Dr. Tanya, and we also have Dr. Andrea Socaroda as reader, and Dr. Glenda Wee, who is the third panelist. We are also grateful for Sir Mark Remington Tan as co-advisors. I think Mark will be joining us later. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the fourth for this morning is digital storytelling for sustainable youth advocacy and sexual and reproductive health and rights promotion in Palawan, Philippines. So this will be presented by Nguyen Mai Chi, Oshan Madushanka Gunathilk, and Yoshi Suzuki. Okay, our examiners are Dr. Nino Leviste, there. Okay, Dr. Mary Racelis will be also synthesizing today's session, and Dr. Willie Torres, again, Dr. Willie Torres, and Ms. Trisha Reyes as co-advisor. Finally, for this morning, we will be having the final presentation for this morning is a blueprint for student well-being, crafting the activity plan for the Wellness Center at the Faculty of Law, Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. Okay, very, very brave. You will be doing this and you will be presenting Amonat Noijin. Okay, and the examiners are again Dr. Wee joining us online, Dr. Navarra, and also Dr. Fras Abaya who will be joining us online. Okay, we also thank Ms. Donna Palaruan who is also co-advisor for this project. Okay, just briefly on the mechanics, I think you were also briefed about this. Each group will be given 15 minutes to present highlights of the capstone project. So we'd like to remind you to please be mindful of your time. You have met Miss Denise earlier. She will be our timekeeper, flashing notices just to remind you, that your 10-minute mark, the 3 minute, and then I think 3 minutes if you exceed 15 minutes. And then after the presentation, there will be an interlocution where our examiners will be given a chance to probe, clarify, and ask the questions that need to be asked. Okay, of course, you have to answer, okay, to the best of your ability. And, take note of what you have to do after. Okay, this is all not to make things difficult for you, but to improve the your output. Okay? Okay, so thank you for that intermission. So I think our other guests also allowed to ask questions. Okay, so you might also receive questions from our guests online. I think around 50 have signified or have registered, but maybe they will be streaming in throughout the day. Okay, so be ready. And then I think during your presentations, the examiners will also be given sheets of paper to write down their comments and then their grades, and then they will be collecting this. We will be collecting this at the end of each session. Okay, so again, on logistics, very quickly, there will be a quick photo session first with the group and then with the examiners so that we can visually capture the joy of this moment. Okay, so after your presentation, look your best again. Get ready for the camera, okay? And then after the second presentation, we will have a 15-minute snack and health break. And all of you are invited to join during the, when we have our break outside, okay? No bringing of food inside the hall, please. Okay, so with that, the order of presentations has been predetermined. And I think you are seated by order of presentation already. Okay, so without further delay, I'd like to call on our first group of presenters to join me on stage. May I call on Akihide Toda, Mikako Nemoto, and Nadira Udaya Kumari, visiting here to talk about how they designed and conducted a leadership skills development program for community mobilizers of Clarissa Project in Bangladesh. May I also invite the examiners to join us here in the tables up front. Okay, so thank you. Good luck. Okay. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So as a first group, 3 of us, we will start with the presentation that we conducted in Bangladesh, titled Designing and Conducting a Leadership Skill Development Program for Community Mobilizer of Project Clarissa, Child Labor Action Research Innovation in South and Southeastern Asian country. To begin with, I would like to raise a question. How many percentage do you think that it is among the entire population of the children in the world? How many percentage do you think that the children are exploited in child labor? According to UNICEF, 8% of the children among the entire population of the in the world are being exploited as child labor. With deep concern related to this human rights violation among the vulnerable group, children, as well as our common interest in this in the project site, Bangladesh, and for utilizing our common skills and knowledges that we have gained through our past experience and by attending several leadership trainings as well as conferences, we motivated for a common belief that to develop a leadership and to nurture a role models in the communities will eventually benefit the community and it will be the best approach for us to tackle this issue. 3 of our group members, to talk about the leadership, we also played leadership roles within our project by being an chief executive in different fields. by utilizing our past working experiences as well as our academic specialties that we have gained through UP's journey. Oops. So our agenda will be in these 5 sections, and we'll start with our introduction by Nadira.
Thank you, Aki. So, child labor is considered as a deeply rooted global issue. According to the International Labour Organization, approximately 152 million children are engaged in child labor. So, these young lives are caught in the cycle of child labor with alarming consequences like loss of childhood, hindrance to their education, hindrance to health, and there are many negative consequences on their overall well-being. So among these distressing situations, the worst forms of child labor stands out as the most severe and harmful. Worst forms of child labor includes child slavery, child trafficking, involvement of children in hazardous work, involvement of children in armed conflicts. So apart from the negative consequences I mentioned earlier, children who are involved in worst forms of child labor are being constantly exploited and abused, and that has created many long-lasting mental, physical, and emotional impacts on them. So we should do, I think we must do something to mitigate child labor to secure a brighter future for this vulnerable population. Teredes Homes, or TDH, is an international non-governmental organization who works to mitigate child labor, and they are always trying to protect the rights of the children. So we worked with the TDH Bangladesh, and we conducted our capstone project in their main projects called Clarissa. So Clarissa stands for Child Labor Action Research Innovation in South and Southeastern Asia. This project is an innovative consortium dedicated to combating hazardous and exploitative child labor. So it unites organizations with expertise in child protection, development, and research to understand the factors driving child labor and to develop some innovative interventions. So Clarissa has employed 19 members, 19 community mobilizers in the project area. We conducted our project, that is urban slum areas in Dhaka, and each community mobilizer is entitled, given with 50 households, and altogether there are 1,573 households for them to engage, and their basic tasks are identify the needs of the households, then mobilize resources and improve the capacity of the people within the communities. So though these community mobilizers are doing a commendable job, but Clarissa has identified due to the lack of leadership skills possessed by these community mobilizers, there is a hindrance to effectively combating child labor and addressing the various factors driving children into labor markets. So to fulfill their role as agents for community development, there is a necessity to equip them with leadership skills that empower them to guide their communities towards sustainable growth and self-reliance, ultimately contributing to mitigate child labor. With that, the objectives of our presentations are to develop and implement a comprehensive leadership skills development program for 19 community mobilizers in the Clarissa project. With that, we are expecting to empower the communities to mitigate child labor. Over to you, Mika.
Okay, so we are now talking about the project design, and I'm going to explain about the project setting and methodology. So our capstone team were successfully decided to deliver the project program to 19 community mobilizers under the Clarissa project, including 2 lead community mobilizers, Ms. Afrin and Mr. Raz. and they were participating in the whole process as a translator. And I would like to mention that thanks to Miss Ginia, she is the head of the Clarissa project. She provided whole support in logistical assistance, including accommodation, translation, and transportation, and also the arrangements to the field visit. So thanks to these main three participators, we could deliver the project. And here I'm going to explain about the mode of the project. So we did post-training needs assessment and post-training assessment online. And at offline, we did field visit and observation of the activities. We decided to hybrid style because Nadira couldn't come to the ground because of the logistical issues. So in the hybrid style, we implemented the program, leadership training, leadership skill development program, and also knowledge and skill assessment. So here we have the project timeline. In March, we started to identifying a potential supporting organization and formulating the ideas of the project. And in August, we had a conversation with Tredes Homes, and we identified the problem and their needs. And September was our capstone part of our capstone project. Akihide and I went on the ground in Dhaka to implement the project while Nadira was joining online all the time. And in October, we have done the post-training assessment and analysis. And now here we are on the stage. So in designing the project, the TNA, training needs assessment, had a crucial part. We asked all the community mobilizers to do the qualitative assessment online using the Google form to identify their actual challenges they are facing. So we identified challenges in 5 categories. First one was conflict resolution. They thinking better conflict management is needed between the communities and households. And communication is one of the crucial elements as a community mobilizers. And sometimes they have to deal with pressures that they get from households, and they are trying to meet the expectations. So it comes to the over expectations and also lack of awareness. Even if they are already practicing as a community mobilizers on the ground, they are lacking in some knowledge and some special knowledges in child labor and child rights, and trust building, which is coming from better communication. So identifying these challenges, we try to fulfill the gap in the designing process of the project. And also these from the field visit and activity observation, we had a chance to visit actual urban slum areas, and we met the households that actually community mobilizers are engaging with. And also we observed the workshop that community mobilizers are providing for the children and youth. This experience was very valuable for us to deepen our understanding of the gravity of actual community mobilizers' role and job, and also the importance of the Clarissa project in mitigating the child labor in Bangladesh.
So we started the program on 25th of September. So as for the day one, we started the program with an ice-breaking session and welcoming the community mobilizers. Then as for the first session, we conducted an introduction to the leadership. There we covered basic fundamentals and key principles of leadership. Then we conducted various leadership styles, and there we introduced transformational leadership, Shakespeare-based leadership, situational leadership, and feminist leadership. Then we conducted the role play activity with the community mobilizers on effective communication and active listening. It was followed by a practical activity on conflict resolution and problem solving. There we gave them some practical scenarios from their own communities. Then we concluded the first day with a group activity on self-awareness and understanding various kind of personality types, and interpersonal relationships. And for the second day on 27th of December, we started the program with recap of day one. Then we conducted a session on child rights and advocacy. There we educated the community mobilizers of child rights, then child labor issues, legal implications and remedial actions. Then we conducted a practical exercise on power. And there we taught them how to share power and how to responsible use of power, because they have a significant, because community mobilizers have a significant power on the communities. Then we conducted a practical exercise on team building and teamwork in leadership, and it was followed by role play activity on mentoring, peer support and constructive feedback. Over to you, Aki.
So here we come to talk about the result and analysis. So we did the knowledge and skill assessment in the last stage of day 2 activity, utilizing the Mentimeter, which is the online tool. And we delivered 10 questions for each contents of day 1 and day 2. And then in the process, we found that the percentage of the questions answered correctly was 77% for day 1 and 81% for day 2, which are not low numbers, but we delivered a review with a correct answer and explanation after each question. So we made sure that the knowledge and skill they obtained were retained in their brain.
And throughout the post-training assessment, we could observe the overall assessment on our program in terms of satisfaction and how in what extent they have met the expected training needs assessment from the 17 respondents from the 19 participants. And also, post-training assessment provided us a skill set acquisition and how, in what extent they have applied to those skill sets they have gained through the program into their field. And 76.5% of the participants have answered that they have applied those skills that they have acquired from the training after 1 week from the training. And those are some of the lists, especially active listening, effective communication, and peer support, constructive feedback has marked the top 2 session that they think that which is useful in their community mobilization. And these are some of the details about how their specific strategy are linked to their specific roles. Overall, we had a successful journey, and the experience is very much invaluable thanks to the active participation of all the participants. And gladly, TDH has declared that this, as an organization, they will incorporate the curriculum that we have designed into their future operation. So, as a conclusion, we would like to conclude with some of the challenges that we faced, and one is the adjustment of the interest of the various stakeholders, and also with the fluctuation of changes on our topics as well as our partners. And also locational and time constraints due to for conducting the program outside of our country, and we also have need to squeeze our time for conducting and observe all the information on the field within limited time, and also the language barrier for conducting this program to the participants who do not speak the same language with us. For overcoming those challenges, to effectively communicating with our partners, and also to the flexibility to accept all the opinions and changes is very much essential for us. And also, we are the only and one and only group who conducted the capstone project in online and offline hybrid model. So by making use of this trait, we have online research, and we conducted online research and on-site interview at the same time to do the time management, as well as the last is asking for help and mobilizing all the network and thanks to tremendous help in the interpretation from the community mobilizer and all the guest speakers who joined from Bangladesh, they provide vivid stories in their mother tongue, Bangla, to deliver their leadership experiences to the participant, which is very much helpful for us. Lastly, we would like to show our deep deepest gratitude to Ateneo APS program for this opportunity to conduct the capstone project and share our insights. Also, all these cooperators, all these supporters and contributors who met in the journey, including PDH, Clarissa Project, for our chance to empowering ourselves to become a future leader, future peace builders, as well as role models of our own communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aki, Nadi, and Mika. So now, are you ready for the questions? Because our examiners, may we invite you to, to begin? Sir Willie?
Okay, should I go first? Thank you. Excellent presentation, and I can see that you did work this out on the ground with your partner. Now, I think the presentation is really come true, and I can see where you're coming from in that endeavor. Probably my comment is on the paper as it is being written, and probably this is where some engagement will be needed from you. First, I look into the literature that you have reviewed, and you did outline um, some discussion on the child labor problems. But I kept wondering because the central project, the central engagement that you set out to do is on leadership and leadership development in particular. But I'm trying to check that out in the literature. There are overwhelming discussion on the problems of child labor, but there is less discussion on leadership development. So I've been wondering about that, and probably you need to engage on that very question on leadership development, because we need to know what is this knowledge base is, what's the characteristic of leadership development, especially in relation to child labor, in a sense. So there are probably plenty of literature on leadership development, but you need to tie it up with the problem of child labor. On the other matter, because I think this is where the project had come from, why you see leadership development as an intervention through the training that you have conducted, because you noted that you notice in the literature that there's a gap in understanding leadership development in relation to its impact in reducing child labor rates. Now, uh, I'm wondering about this because you could also be challenged in this thinking about leadership development equals reducing child labor rates, because training on leadership development could be a support measure. It may not exactly lead to actual reduction in child labor. Don't you think that that claim is a little bit more, shall we say, too high, too much, or hyperbolic to some extent, for the lack of better word? Sorry for that. But I'm just wondering if at all there's a direct connection in improving leadership and reducing child labor rates, because reduction of child labor rates, and probably you can check this out in the literature as well, may require socioeconomic interventions, some degree of policing work, and welfare development, plus parental engagements between intervention workers as well as communities. So the effect, the impact may not be direct. To some extent, this is capacity building in a sense for those who are engaged in leadership in this regard. So I'm wondering how you would think about this. You can answer later on, but I think you need to really discuss this in the paper. Last 2 points on the paper, on the conceptual framework. We need an explanation of the conceptual framework. It's conceptual framework are not just charts that we see. and then you cannot leave it to the readers, not only panelists but anyone reading it, to make a guess. What does the chart mean? How do they relate with each other? So we cannot just leave it out, just a chart. So we need an explanation of that conceptual frame. But not only an explanation in relation to how they relate with each other, but it has to also be based and be built on existing body of knowledge, meaning it has to be built on the literature, in a sense. Why is this one aspect of reality and one aspect of theory are related at all? Who's saying that? What's the basis? Who and in relation to who is saying that, to what extent is that claim valid or not valid? How do you address that? The literature, the practice, the engagement, the evidence on the ground. Finally, on the idea of community mobilizers as catalyst of change, I think this was not discussed in the presentation, but it was quite significant in your paper. And you claim that the beauty of the training that you've done is that the catalysts, the community mobilizers, realize that they can be catalysts for changes. Now, I'm wondering what makes this claim really relevant and significant. I'm thinking about this in relation to other interventions, not only in labor, but also in other projects. Normally, the community mobilizers really play a significant role in catalyzing changes. So, what makes this unique to some extent, and what makes other interventions among community mobilizers not unique? Or you may have to rethink about this, because in a sense this should be a standard fare in development intervention programs, that when you engage community mobilizers, they should actually become a catalyst of change in their community. So and the reason why we're engaging with them, so it should not be a surprise that this is the finding. Probably you need to think a little bit harder on this, expand your thinking around it. I'll be interested with your response as well, but I'll be also very interested on how you re-articulate this when you revise your paper. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Doc Joel. No? So I'll also add on that, on the term community mobilizer, no? Because you also need to define that, because it doesn't mean that if you're a development practitioner, a development worker, you're already community mobilizer, because community mobilizer is an agent for social change. No? But then that did not appear in the paper. No? So if they are community mobilizers, so what is the nature of their work in the community? What is the profile of the community that they're working with? If they're partnering with like 3 or 10 communities, no, what's the nature of child labor issue in the community? What have been introduced? No, what are currently being done in the community? Do they have partners in the community that they are actually enhancing their skills, so those things should really appear in your paper, because they are community mobilizers. But then if they're not, then you really have to go back to your paper, and because community mobilizing is really a term, and Prof. Mary also knows that, because we partner with community mobilizers, and next is the TNA, the training needs analysis. I can see in your paper that you did this with the partner organization. I wonder why you didn't involve the community, because ultimately it's a community who should be benefiting from the trainings that you're giving. So it would have been best if the needs of the community were incorporated in the training needs analysis, because they are the ones who are confronting the child labor problems within their environment. So the nature of child labor concerns should have been discussed in the paper. No, is there really a resistance in the community, or everyone is just encouraging child labor because it's their way of survival? No, so those things now should also be here in the paper, because this is about child labor and this is about the community mobilization. And yeah, the leadership training, I cannot really connect it with child labor response, no, child labor intervention. So try to make it explicit. No, why is it that leadership training is like a social innovation in their current work in child labor response? No? Because you're already dealing with an organization who specializes in child labor, no? So why now the leadership training? How is it different from the other trainings that they already did with their staff? No. Okay, so I think I stop with that, and yeah.
Okay, at this point, the group would like to respond. Okay.
I'm not sure how much do we have, but just briefly, I think, thank you so much. I think, first of all, I think there's something that we need to incorporate within our paper, and we will incorporate both both parts that Dr. Kanada and Dr. Malis have pointed out. But in terms of just to explain the procedure that we have come up with, this empowerment of this leadership, and especially to connect into the child labor issue, is coming from the conversations with TDH. As told in the challenges part, we have so many, Dr. We all know that we have facing so much problems on these this finalization of topics and then the partners as well. And luckily, but this conversation has been continued until the very last moment to so first of all, we offer that what kind of skill set and what kind of values that we can actually offer and to this organization itself. And also we would like to connect that into some of the work they are doing. And then we thought that we also considered different, we went through all the projects that TDH is conducting right now. And then we eventually set up with the Clarissa, that which is almost at the final years of their project implementation, so that we can comparatively getting much more closer to the community, so that they can reflect these knowledges into the communities. So that's the first thing. But regarding the points, we also since this is also personally, it's my first trial to go to the field to conduct this, to work with community mobilizer, as well as doing my capstone project. So of course there was many failures, which we also incorporated a little bit in our limitation part of the paper. And I think thanks to Dr. Malis, that's also a suggestion from the community mobilizer from the post-training assessment, that they were saying that it will be better if we can incorporate some of the sectors such as gender analysis of the communities, but not just the participants, because this is extremely important to think of the case, actual case studies, actual case role playing within our leadership training. But we are a bit lax of that. So I think that's kind of learnings from our failures as well. So I think we would like to incorporate that into the limitation part instead of adding that into the TNA. So yeah, that's my.
Just very quickly, the failure that you mentioned, probably there's a lot to be learned there, rather than it's a limitation. It's what this is all about. We need to, when we do intervention, we need to be very sensitive on what works and what did not work. It's not a limitation. It's the way to expand the development paradigms, the way to expand the knowledge, and especially if you've learned about that the failure with your partners in a co-productive manner. There's so much to be said about that. So I would suggest that don't just treat it as a limitation, but deal with it as part of the insights that you'll be gaining from the program. The very idea that some had failed would then alert other development practitioners to not go that way, or to find a way in which the path that you've gone through could further be enhanced, could further be improved. So that by itself is a knowledge aspect where that you can build on, and that is an exciting part, and it's a good thing about failure to some extent, because they're probably really not failure, but they're opportunities to learn from and to raise the level of intervention and transdisciplinary development engagements. I hope that's you can work on that as well, because that's a good problem to have.
Anybody else from the group would like to respond or say something before we turn over to Dr. Willie?
Less than 3 minutes. Congratulations on your presentation. You know my comments, right? I have very sharp comments, so you understand. No? I'm aware of your challenges, challenges that you faced. I'm aware that you had to change several topics, no? Challenges facing in terms of locking down a partner, no, etc. So, I guess I am happy that you were able to overcome those challenges. A sharp question, no, in your paper that you're aware of, I talked about, I asked about what did you actually contribute? What did you actually bring to the project, to Clarissa? And did you actually matter? Okay. So these are two questions that I think all groups should be aware, no? What do you actually bring in that context to that project? And did your presence actually matter to them? Okay, so you have to think of those in the future. But I'm happy that you were able to overcome these challenges, and I hope to reflect the comments and suggestions made by the panelists in your paper. I look forward to reading it again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Just just as a response, I think it was very tremendous opportunity for us to realize our values throughout the processes, because at the beginning and until the presentation today, we are still like finding, oh, this was our value that we have provided, and then thanks to all the comments, I think we could find out that, and we also keep receiving the comments and also messages from the community mobilizer that they are how it had helped, and then they're wishing to have a refresher session of this leadership program so that they can continue this within the different communities. So I think that's some of the impact, and also the TDH, the fact that TDH want to incorporate it into their future like project. I think that's another impact that we have made. So I think we are like kind of learning from these processes, and we didn't realize it since the beginning. So we would like to incorporate that in the paper. Yeah, thank you.
So congratulations, Aki, Nadi, and Mika. Very, very brave presentation for being the first ones up here, and for very graciously receiving the comments made by our panel of examiners. So thank you, Dr. Joel, Doc Melis, and Dr. Willie. So I think we also learned a lot from the insights from the comments that we heard from our examiners. So thank you again, and you may now go back to your seats. So you can relax a bit before thinking of. Oh wait, we have to take a photo, pala. So we wanted to capture the moment. So may we invite our team to please take a photo of the group. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yes po. But first them po. Sige. Okay. Sige. Dr. Willie with the team. Okay.
Just a little clearer, just a little. There, okay, it's good. Okay. Okay, everyone, look you please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One last. 1, 2.
Okay, and then with Doc Melis, Sir Willie. With Doc Melis and Dr. Joel, the team with Doc. Sir, kasama ko kayo. Okay. For posterity, and so that you will remember the comments when you look at the photos. Okay?
Everyone, would you please? Okay, one, two, three. One more. One, two,
Okay, congratulations again. And so from Bangladesh, we move on to Cambodia. And may we now invite Sachi Asami, Soklin Uy, and Min Muano Tayapita for their presentation on empowering youth inter-ethnic peace builders in Cambodia. Okay? Okay, come on over. And may we request Dr. Willie, Dr. Joel to stay here in front. I think Dr. Glenda is joining us online. Okay, ready?
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all again in the Philippines here today. And our project is entitled Empowering Interethnic Youth in Cambodia. And this project will be presented by Soklin, Min, and me. And this is our table of contents. So first of all, to elaborate our project, we focused on one of the social issues in Cambodia, which is racial discrimination among interethnic communities. In Cambodia, around 90% of all people of ethnic Khmer origin, with the remaining population being made up of other races and minorities, such as Cham and various indigenous communities, and ethnic Vietnamese communities, and so on. But there has been an increase in tension and violence due to the discrimination that has been shown to each community at different levels. For example, talking about Cham Muslim communities or Khmer Muslim communities, in Cambodia, Muslim people are often suspected of being part of insurgents or terrorism, and Cambodian people are often frequently worried about Muslim radicalization that might affect their daily lives. And second example is related to ethnic Vietnamese communities. They have been the target of discrimination in Cambodia, and the root cause of this violence can be found in historical narratives between Cambodia and Vietnam. And furthermore, for the past decades, especially during the election period, the anti-Vietnamese sentiment has always been stirring up, which has provoked tension and violence not only among politicians, but also general population, especially among youth. And those are only a few examples that I can raise due to the time constraints today. But the current tension among those inter-ethnic communities has the potential to erupt into violence due to the possible social and political triggers. So based on our analysis of this problem, we developed our project with two objectives. First one is to empower youth, especially to enhance knowledge and skills of youth peace leaders through our capacity building training. We learned during the literature review that 2/3 of the whole population in Cambodia is actually youth under 30. So we believe strongly that youth can become change agents in bringing about social innovation if we can contribute ourselves to empowering youth. And then the second objective is to strengthen our partner organization by addressing the lack of resources that was pointed out by our partner organization themselves with a co-design manual for the training. And then, having determined these two objectives, we aimed at producing two outcomes. The first one is use, increase knowledge and skills, as well as enhance confidence to take the lead in peace activities through our capacity building training. And then the second one is our partner organization sustainably trains youth with our co-design manual. And then those two outcomes will be stepping stones to create our desired long-term impact, which is youth taking a leadership role to challenge stereotypes by showing empathy and also utilizing conflict transformation skills in their communities and society as a whole. And now let me talk about our interventions with our partner organization. And we set two main activities. The first one is implementation of a needs assessment to identify the needs of our target youth network and also identify the gaps between the status quo in which they are less engaged in peace activities and then expected results in which they will be more engaged in peace activities. And this was our guidance on how to strategically elaborate our training. And the second one is provision of a 2-day training to enhance knowledge and skills of youth by addressing the topics pointed out as important by youth during the training, during the needs assessment, sorry. And not to mention, these two activities were implemented in close collaboration with our partner organization. Now I will give the floor to Sokrin, and she will start with the introduction of our partner organization.
So good morning, everyone. So to begin, I would like to begin with our partner organizations, which is called Women Peacemaker. Women Peacemaker is actually the local gender and peace building organization that work to promote gender equality, transform conflict, and build peace. They have the vision to build a peaceful and gender just society where everyone, regardless of identity, can reach their full potential and live free from violence. And with our target youth, it's actually we work specifically on the peace youth peace network called NEPA. The full name is Network of Inter-Ethnic Peace Ambassador that actually formed by various group of youth from diverse ethnic background after they join one of the project of our partner organization. So basically the network is still under supervision of the partner organization as well. And they have a vision to see the peaceful society where multi-ethnic youth has good relation with each other. They have equal opportunity without discrimination against each other, regardless of their ethnic and also religious identity. And with our output and activity, we actually divided into 4 phases, which the first one is the development of the need assessment manual. And then to do that, we also have closely working and consultation with partner organization and co-design the manual together. And later on, we use the finding from the need assessment, and then we conduct the development of the training manual, and then we conduct the capacity building training. And the last phase is actually evaluation and consultation for future action plan with our partner organization. So the outcome and funding analysis, we divided into 2 parts, which is the need assessment and also capacity building training. For the need assessment, we conduct 3 methods, which is the survey with 36 respondents from the network, the youth network, and focus group discussion, which we conducted with 8 NEPA core member, including steering committee member, coordinator, to collect all the important input, and also interview with the other 6 members as well. And with the finding, we actually found out five main topic that they actually wish to enhance and to build their capacity so that they can carry out their peace building work in their daily activity. So the first one is social media, which they want to focus on like how they can tell promoting like peace and everything in their peace page, like their network page. And then the stress management and self-care, nonviolent communication, peaceful leadership, and critical thinking. And we, due to the limitation, we only choose nonviolent communication, peaceful leadership, and stress management and self-care to conduct the training manual. But with the consultation with partner organization, they believe that conflict resolution, which is focused on peer mediation and also effective communication, is also very important for the youth network member to enhance their capacity. So we include the two. So these 5 topics is actually the main topic that we conduct the capacity building training for the network. And the training outcome is actually 9 participants attended our 2-day capacity building training. They're coming from various ethnic group, which including Khmer, Vietnam, Cham, Khmer Islam, Khmer Chinese, Indigenous, and also Khmer. So the on-site activity involve a lot of interactive discussion, including role play, focus group discussion, group work, and so on. And then we also have include only some information related to pre-test and post-test assessment that we conduct. The first one is the knowledge on positive and negative pitch, which because this one is actually, we found that it's very impactful for participants. In the beginning, like before the training, we found out that they only view positive peace as something personal, like being quiet, mindfulness, like in the jungle or something. But after the training, they can broaden their perspective, seeing positive peace as something in the bigger picture, like improving institution, improving gender equality, peace building, and nonviolence, and so on. And for the peer mediation, it's actually very impactful for them, because as the member of the network, like doing peace building work, it's actually increased their knowledge 200%. But I will further explain like how they can utilize those peer mediation in their everyday work in challenging the stereotype and discrimination. And also, we also include several 2 other, which is peace leadership and also nonviolent communication, that they also enhance their understanding, especially knowing the role and characteristic of peace leader, because all of them are like peace builder, and also enhance their understanding of nonviolent communication, like knowing how to use for nonviolent communication. And for the overall result, we also have conduct overall result beyond pre-test and post-test assessment, which is a reflection circle, because it's we believe that it's a space for participants to reflect and also reflect on what they learn and their vision for their community and also their future peace building initiative. So basically, all of them got inspired from all the from the training, and then planning for knowledge sharing, but through NIPA activity, like sharing session to the community, and also conduct the training and so on, because NIPA as a network, they also have various peace building project in the community. And then at the end is to contribute to promote peace building in society. And we also have reflection from a participant that they actually believe that as part of the member, they can use the network, they can use the knowledge to strengthen their leadership role and lead the network and represent the network as well in carrying out the activity. And one of the mediation knowledge is actually further inform them, and they would be like ready to become like peer mediator and when there is conflict among the network member as well, which is very useful for them. And the next one is actually they want to further equip the network member in order to strengthen that knowledge, and also sharing the information through social media, and also to engage with any activity to the community and also in the province. And we also, for this, we conduct the need assessment and training manual development, which we work like throughout the process. We work collaboratively with partner organization, getting their suggestion, their feedback, and then also identify the issue that they want to get from the need assessment as well, because we also listen to what they need as well. And then we have we have training manual report, and we have training manual and also need assessment report that we will hand over to our partner organization. And in the end, we also, after the training, we also did the discussion and consultation with them. And then the future action plan is that they will review our need assessment report, and then they will organize strategic plan meeting. And then they use our training manual to conduct monthly and semester-long capacity building training for the rest of the member, because we only include 9 members for our training. So the rest of our member still need to further build the capacity. And at the end, they still need use our training like manual and also need assessment report as a tool for their future action step in their future related work. So for the next part, I'm gonna transfer to me.
Thank you so much, Soklin. So next, I'm gonna talk about the challenge and limitation that we face. The first one is that it's during Phnom Day celebration, which is like one of the most important celebration in Phnom Penh. So it's challenging to finalize a training date, and it can also disrupt the number of potential participants joining our training. And other challenge and limitation is language barrier, which is require translation between English and Khmer, and it can consume more time of the training than expectation. Also, move on to the lesson learned. The first lesson learned is that participant attendance is very unpredictable, because we found out that cancellation at last minute can interfere our organizational and logistical planning. So we realized that contingency plan is required to have more participants on the list, so it can be coherent with our overall training. Another lesson learned is that observing participant preference is very important, because we found that our participant is actually peace practitioner and are interested in experiential learning. So we need to provide interactive and participatory learning approach and provide more time on hands-on activities, role plays, and group discussion. And this help tailor our teaching method to serve their needs and interests. For the recommendation, since our main is need assessment and capacity building. For the need assessment, we recommend our partner organization to improve logistical arrangements, such as informing details of upcoming events, improve its organizational structure, for example, provide annual work plan, and ensure a space for member initiative. Also, we recommend for them to outreaching and networking more with community and schools, so that the peace leader are ready and are confident to provide by themselves. And also more of team engagement, solidarity, capacity building for members, such as doing more regular gatherings. And the recommendation from the capacity building, the analysis after the training shows the positive impact in the participant and the youth network overall. However, there are some knowledge that could not be improved in this capacity building. So we inform Women Peacemaker and NIPA to enhance this in their future plan. So in conclusion, we believe that enhancing member capacity by providing knowledge and skill will help push NIPA member to move forward and strengthen NIPA as a network itself to be stronger, to contribute to peace, inter-ethnic harmony in Cambodia. Thank you so much for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Sachi, Soklin, and Min. You have a lot of fans out here, but I think your examiners are ready with their questions before we proceed to Dr. Glenda. Sir, Dr. Welly, you want?
Hi, good morning. Congratulations on your presentation. Let me tell you what I like about your paper. I like the background that you provided, the background of the interethnic relationships in Cambodia. It's very accessible for someone, for example, who is not an expert or does not know the problem. It's very interesting how you gave the background and the problems there in Cambodia of interethnic relations. I also like how you did your stakeholders, involving how you involved or you did your assessment of your stakeholders, how you did your training needs assessment. Okay, so these are strong points in your paper, as well as in the evaluation part, how you did your post-test, pre-test, post-test. So uh, these are strong parts in your paper. Now, however, no, your needs assessment and your what's that pre-test post-test seem to dominate your paper. So it's the bulk of your paper, right? Just to prove that your interventions or your engagement was or your training was effective. You really had to prove that it was effective. So it dominates your paper. Okay. However, this was balanced with another thing that I like, your use of the reflection circle, and you place there what your training actually meant for the participants. So it was balanced by all those graphs were balanced by your reflection circle, and you also you had a generous use of quotes from your participants, showing what the training means for them. So that is nice. So still, in terms of like maybe just to improve your paper, I don't know. No, you find a way that the training needs assessment in your evaluation is not the main thing. Organize it in such a way later on that it would not be the main. It's all that it's heavy. Yeah, it's all that at least for me, it seemed heavy, and but that is not the main thing in your paper, I think. No? If you had to organize it, I would suggest you explain just like your slides, your presentation. No? You write your paper in such a way that what did you do that project, okay, and what did you achieve, what was achieved, and you discuss your results, okay, and finally you discuss your challenges and how you surmounted these challenges, as well as your insights. So that's it. What did you do? What was achieved? You discuss your results. So it's your insights. Okay? So maybe donors, for instance, would look at it. Okay, there are you achieved this amount of you've done this training, and you trained this how many participants, and you trained these participants from different ethnic groups. Oh, that's great. But donors also look in your reports, your insights. Okay? So your insights as the ones who implemented that program in partnership with your partners and the communities on the ground. You draw your insights. That is what is also important for donors, because the donors, for example, are not there on the ground. They did not witness that. They were not engaging on the ground. Okay, so they do not know these insights. Okay? So you have to consciously place it on paper so that they will be able to read it, and they will see how important your work is and your partnership with the people down there. Because they will never see it. Okay? They will never experience it. All these graphs are what they only see. No? At the end of the day, so what? Okay, you have to answer the so what question. So what? Why did you do this? So what? Okay, did it matter? Huh? Okay, so you organize your paper in that way. Those are my suggestions.
Okay, my turn before Dr. Wee. Okay, I couldn't say it any better than what Dr. Torres has already said. But just like him, I appreciated your presentation. there's so much clarity in it and crispiness on it. And in fact, it allows me to see through even much better what you've done on field in engaging with this project. Now, just like my comment in the last group, I'll be focusing on the paper because the paper is the more important knowledge product that we can gain from this project. And then I'm sure that your partners had gained a lot from the manual that you have produced, which is quite a good achievement. But just like Dr. Torres says, that we need to raise that up to the level of insights, the level of knowledge for others to have a good understanding of what you have done on the ground and how it actually mattered. Now, on the technical part, which might be the bulk of my comment in your paper, I'm actually been wondering about the outcomes that you have set out. You noted and you have also presented that here that the very first outcome that you thought that the intervention would would produce would create is that it will establish or it will make participants more ready to take on leadership role in that engagement. Now, I'm wondering if you're looking at this from that one intervention that you have done, because it might be a little bit magical, a little bit too much of a claim to say or to even think that one intervention will produce leaders, because leaders are produced not in a vacuum. It goes through a process. It cannot just be we cannot just train one session, do one session, train leaders and then produce leaders. And in fact, years of leadership training may not even produce really a good leader because it goes through a process. Probably you have to rethink about that outcome because it might be too much of a claim. And I'm also wondering about that particular claim, because I already find it as shooting for the stars in a sense, if it was discussed at all in your insights, in your concluding part. But it got lost in the conclusion. The conclusion went elsewhere. You have to also return to the outcomes that you have set out, including the long-term outcomes that you have set out in concluding your paper in the end. I'm looking for the takeaways in the conclusion. Part of that is that did it really matter, and it has to appear in the conclusion. And of course, the conclusion should reflect the outcomes that you have set out to do. Another matter that I've been thinking about in your paper is your discussion on capacity building, and then later on, your concluding remarks as well as insights on capacity building. There's a number of critique on the notion of capacity building in development work. Yes, it may have come from Amartya Sen's notion of capacitation, and I wish you have also discussed that and also presents the problem of the notion of capacity building. Because one area, and this is also part of the critique that I've been doing in my own research on development work, especially the claim for capacity building, is the question of who actually defines who needs capacity, what capacity. It's wanting to come up from a notion, an idea that people needs capacity. It's also another thing to come up with or to think about it from the point of view of literature. But ultimately, I think the more important thing to consider is who's defining that capacity and what kind of capacity are we really talking about. Do partners, do communities really need capacity building in the way that we imagine it? And then probably to answer that is to really ask what capacity is, to define what capacity is, and also go back to the very question on not only who's asking what capacity, but to recognize that people are people, communities are communities because they have their own organic capacity. I mean, a community would not be organized as a capacity as a community if there are no capacity that is existing in there. Was there an attempt to recognize those capacity? Was there even a thought to um, to think that there are already capacities that are existing on the ground? It's just a question of asking and also engaging in a co-productive way. What kind of capacity would be needed? We cannot just generalize the notion of capacity, and I think that's where you're coming from. Why this intervention? Because you would want to capacitate participants, youth for this matter, to take on leadership role. But then have we also asked local capacities to begin with? So the intervention on capacitation would actually become more meaningful. So you may probably have to return to the literature on this, and as well as the critique on the very notion of capacity, and then draw from it later on in writing your insights and also your conclusion. And that can help you go beyond just like the critique that Dr. Torres was saying, just go beyond the TNA discussion, because it's one thing to talk about TNA, it's another thing to talk about really the outcomes and also the knowledge being produced from it. Last part of my intervention in your work is the structure and the writing. I think as I noted earlier, there's a need to revisit the conclusion. I've been wondering what's takeaway that can be tracked from it, and also if you submit a paper, please avoid submitting a paper that still has track changes in it. I can see the comments coming from each one of you. I'm not so sure if you've sent us the wrong paper, but next time, for professional sake, and especially if you're dealing with donor agencies or in formal institutions, you have to make sure that it's a clean paper that you have been that you will be sending, and for the structure of the paper, I think you would need to also work into the related literature review in relation to your intervention. In your related literature, you did discuss that you offer a summary of what kind of intervention that you will be doing, but never really discuss this intervention at all in that section in the literature review. You went on presenting some literature, and then I as a reader got lost on what exactly your intervention, and I think your goal was to present your intervention in relation to the literature, but it was lost in the writing and in the translation, I think. So you have to revisit that in a sense. So two things on the technical part. Avoid submitting drafts, and just make sure that these are really clean. Second is that when you say something that you're going to work on this, and this is your topic, be sure that the next sentences, the next paragraphs will talk about your intervention, and not put in other topics in it. I hope I'm clear enough on this. But overall, I think you have a good contribution. It's just a matter of structuring it and really teasing it out to be as clear as possible. So congratulations as well in your work.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to respond to any of their comments or your suggestions at this point before we proceed to Dr. Glenda?
I was expecting the comments from Dr.
Actually, we it's feel like we just so grateful for all the comment, and then we will try to structure our paper accordingly, especially in terms of the outcome, because we actually try to access a lot of information from them, and then we got a lot of information, and then we don't actually clear like how are we going to include it in the paper to identify like what outcome should be included, especially in terms of the knowledge increase. That's why we put like all the information in there, and especially including the information that actually participants do not increase the knowledge. But then we also mention in our presentation that we will also discuss it with the partner organization and then inform them so that they can further enhance the knowledge and to the network member. And also in terms of capacity building training, we actually struggling in terms of that because we believe that we want to enhance their capacity. So we believe that it's like capacity building training. But then actually those youth, like they were already equipped like with all the peace building knowledge. But for example, positive peace and negative peace, they also already been learned from the partner organization, but not all of them. But some of them need to be enhanced. That's why we put capacity building training, but we can also take your input and then go back and then further like analyze and then discuss among our team later.
Very quick comment. Please do that. Recognize their capacity, what they already have, because this is what co-production is all about, and this is really what proper development intervention would be. To first recognize what they already have, and then you can now discuss on the value of the intervention that you'll be doing, but building on the capacity that that community already have. We cannot just and any other development engagement, not just yours, but all across. We cannot just start from an assumption that that people, our partners, have zero capacity, tabula rasa, in a sense, because there will always be capacity, no matter what community, no matter what circumstances it will be. But the first step is the recognition of those capacity. So if you can articulate that in the paper and structure it in a more coherent way, that will be a very good contribution as well.
I want to add up on that because we actually have identified some of your input actually in our need assessment manual. So probably we can refer back to our manual and then include it in our paper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So maybe we had a lot of very valuable insights from Dr. Whaley and Dr. Joel, but maybe see Dr. Glenda is also joining us with her own comments or words. Thank you, Dr. Glenda. Over to you.
Yeah, so congratulations, students, for you worked so hard on your paper. Then what I really like about your group is that the three of you work very well. So yeah, so congratulations on finishing your project. And of course, my big thank you to Dr. Torres and Dr. Canuday for their very important comments. So I've taken note of all their comments, and we will make sure I'm going to work with the students to make sure that these comments will be addressed to further improve their paper. So on the part of Dr. Torres, the gist of his comments, he wanted to surface more of your insights, more discussion of your insights on what happened on the ground. So we will work on this. And on the part of Dr. Canuday, of course, it's very important what he said, that for all the objectives, the outputs that you set out to achieve in your paper, you have to come back to each of those and then thoroughly discuss on how you were able to achieve those objectives, and the outputs that you set out to do for your paper. And of course, a lot of discussions of your insights regarding on how you fulfill these objectives, and if they were not fulfilled, and what would account for this. So more discussions on this. And of course, it's very important what Dr. Canuday pointed out about capacity building. So more discussions on capacity building in your paper. So I acknowledge that this subject matter was not thoroughly discussed on your paper, and I think it's a very important input that would enrich your paper by putting in discussions on capacity building. And we also have to go back to your literature review. So yeah, so discussion on the intervention that you wanted to do for your project. So this should be incorporated as well in the literature review that you're going to revise for your paper. And of course, it's very important what Dr. Canuday pointed out about being very professional about your work on how you present your work. So take note of that. That you always give a clean copy to whoever you need to submit your work to. Yeah. So that's all. So Dr. Keruday, Dr. Torres. So the students and I are going to work on your comments and revise their paper accordingly. Thank you. So congrats again.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Glenda. May we request you to stay there online while we take your photo together with the group, because I think this is the end of the presentation. Okay, thank you and congratulations, Sachi, Soklin, and Mian. Okay, let's have a photo, Sir Kevin. Okay, and then Dr. Torres and Dr. Kanuday, can you please join them on stage? Okay, thank you. So with that, we have already finished 2 presentations, 2 out of 10. And how are you guys? Okay, we all, yeah, some of you are nervous, some of you are nervous about the work that still needs to be done. But just very briefly, we'll have a 15-minute snack and health break. So you can take your snacks outside and come back maybe by 11:10 or 11:12. Okay, for the third presentation. Thank you, everyone. See you in 15. Are we? Okay, everybody here inside the hall? Just a bit of administrative reminders as well. Our lunch will be just immediately after the presentations. So we will be having lunch at CTC 413. So you know where that is? Okay, neither do I. So, so it's gonna be a surprise for us, but I think it's gonna be just when we go outside, and then it's towards the left. Our team members will be going with you so that so you won't get lost. Okay, so just blend with the crowd, follow the crowd, and there will be lunch served. Okay, where they will lead you. Okay. So everybody ready for the next set of presentations? Okay. I think we're still missing half of the room, and I don't want them to miss our third presentation, because for sure we're all gonna learn from the presentations again as we did during this morning. So everybody inside already? And maybe we can now invite our next presenters here to join us on the stage. Arcar, may I invite Arcar Mao, May Yamon Chao, and Zureen Agustin to talk about their project Youth Sense, empowering Burmese migrant youths with mental health and psychosocial support training in Meso, Thailand. Okay, everybody? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for allowing us to stand before you. First, let me introduce my group mates. So we have Aga, Zareen, and I, May. And our group project title is Youth Sense, Empowering Burmese Migrant Youth with Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Training in Mae Sot, Thailand. So our agenda is accordingly. Moving on to the background of the study, since after the independence of Myanmar, it has been compiled with many vulnerabilities, which includes long-running civil war, political and economic instabilities, poverty, and recent seizures of military in February 2021, and all these factors led to the huge number of people migrating to neighboring countries, including Thailand. So one of the renowned refuge for people who fled from political persecution and people who want to seek for the better economic opportunity is Mae Sot. So Mae Sot is located in western Thailand, and it shares the border with Myanmar to the west. And according to Nyont and Watch Panich, Burmese migrant population living in Thailand has increased from over 1.5 million in 2020 to over 1.9 million in 2022. And they also mentioned that half of the populations are children and the youth. And the reason why we decided Mae Sot as our study site is because most of the majorities of the population, Burmese migrant population, reside there. And out of overall 110 migrant learning centers, which have been the main educational hub for both children and both Burmese migrant children and youths, 65 of them are located in the area. And from our baseline assessment, we also find that there is not enough MHP as a support or program in the area, and also most of the training failed to engage youth. So that's the reason why we decided to conduct our implementation there. So our research problem is that, as we have already mentioned in previous slides, that although many people share their traumatic experience deriving from past and present exposure to direct and indirect violent attack and threats of the military troop. In that area, there is insufficient MHP as a training and coping mechanism, especially for youths. For most of the training given there to the teachers and the staffs from different organizations, but not the youth. So our main research question is, how does mental health and psychosocial support contribute to addressing the challenge of migrant children and youth? And the question listed below are our sub-research questions. So for our research, we grounded our research on the empowerment theory. According to Zimmerman, empowerment theory can be analyzed in 3 different levels. First, in individual psychological empowerment, which is empowering individuals, and the second, organizational empowerment. So it is empower individual from the organization level, and the third, and empower communities, which means that they are empowering community as a whole. But our research, our project fall under the first category, as we are engaging youth in the training that they usually are withdraw from. And we empower them to have a sense of control and aware their surroundings. So these are our objectives. So the first one is to empower and capacitate Burmese migrant youth in Mesot, Thailand, with MHPS's training to increase the pool of MHPS's facilitators in the area. And the second is to co-develop and contextualize MHPS's session material for migrant children. And last but not least is to document the trained youth facilitators in the conduct of actual MHPS sessions with children in the area for the MHPS for further MHPS programming. So now I will give time to my friend Aka.
So I will continue with the discussion on methodology. And as May has explained, our project has 3 main objectives. In achieving our objectives, we partner with two migrant learning centers in Mesot. One of them is Mimoho Education Foundation, MEF. MEF provides the general education development program and also other educational programs for Burmese migrant youths who flee from Myanmar. And also we recruited 29 young adults from the MEF program. And also the second partner is Burma Liver Solidarity Organization, BLSO, which empowers and also advocates the rights of the Burmese migrant families. So we also collaborated with BLSO, especially with the School of BLSO, which educates the children. And we also received the technical support from the local and international organizations, namely the Suvarnamit Foundation, Mero Clinic, and International Organization for Migration, IOM Thailand. And in our pre-implementation process, our team reached out to 4 migrant learning centers and several organizations working in Mesot area. And we have partnered with 2 migrant learning centers we mentioned above, because they have no MHPSS program, and also their willingness for such program, and also the feasibility to conduct our project. And also we collaborated with MTC, SF, and IOM Thailand in designing our project through the online consultations. And then we did key informal interviews with the learning facilitators of the 2 migrant schools. We also did the baseline assessment survey with all the youth participants and focus group discussion with 9 youth participants. And during the implementation process, one of our objectives is to develop the MHPSS session guide for the Burmese migrant children. So our team used the existing MHPSS materials from Save the Children, UNICEF, and also UNRWA, and then we co-develop and contextualize the session guide with the technical support from Mero Clinic and IOM Thailand, and also from the 2 migrant learning schools. Then we translated those materials so that it will be available in both Burmese and English. The second objective is to empower the Burmese migrant youth with the MHPSS training. So firstly, in the process, we recruited the resource persons for the training, and then with the recruited facilitators from IOM Thailand and Suvarnamit Foundation, we co-design the training guide and the training sessions. So from the 2nd and the 4th of October, we conducted the three-day training on MHPSS, and there were a total of 28 participants, with 15 males and 13 females participated in our training. On the day 1, the training focuses on the child protection and MHPSS, and it was facilitated by Ekupo. She is the program manager of Suvarnamit Foundation, and co-facilitated by our team members. On the day 2, we focus on the psychological first aid and also the role play of the PFA, and it was facilitated by Dr. Pramal from the psychiatric from IOM Thailand, and our teammate Zorin co-facilitated the sections. And on the third day, our teammate Zorin facilitated the topic on socio-emotional learning, and then the team also practiced some of the sections from the MHPSS session guide that we developed together. We also conducted the pre-training and the post-training surveys tasks, and also the daily debriefing sessions and daily evaluation forms. And also, this one is also one of our objectives, which is for the youth to experience the actual content of MHPSS sessions. For that reason, on the 9th and 11th of October, the Train You facilitators, they became the Train You facilitator, they hosted 2 sessions of MHPSS from our developed session guide. And they have the sections with the children from BLSO. The children, the total number of children is around 68, with 36 males and 22 females, and they are from grade 1 to grade 6. And then we also conducted FDGs with the child participants, and we did daily debriefing sessions with the youth facilitators. In our post-implementation process, it involves the activities such as online assessment survey with all youth participants, and feedback survey on MHPSS session guide that we developed, and the feedback on the actual experience of conducting sessions with the children. And also we did the focus group discussion with 6 youths. And the next part on the outcomes and analytics will be discussed by my teammate.
Good morning. So right now I will present to you the outcomes and findings of our research or project. So how to use this, please? Okay. Oh. Okay. So I will present to you by objectives. So the first objective, as mentioned by our teammates, it's focus on capacitating our youth partners. So in this outcome specific objectives, we have 6 activities under this. So I will present to you per activity. So the first activity, it focused on the consultation. So as mentioned by Arcar, we consulted different organizations that includes IOM, Suwanimet, the Minmahao Education Foundation, and the BLSO. So we also conducted FGDs with youths and surveys with youths. And for under this, we have different findings. I will not go through them, but just to give you a hint, no? So we were able also to get the feedback of our youths. What are the negative and positive impacts of migration? So we wanted to discuss this further in the discussion part in relation to the review of related literature later, but it's not enough time. So we will proceed with activity 2. So in activity 2, we were able to collect and review existing MHPSS materials from different organizations. And out of those 10 session materials that we collected, we were able to select 3. And then after which we developed, we worked together with Minmahao Education Foundation in selecting appropriate sessions from these existing materials. And it was also technically reviewed by IOM, Suwanimet, and Mato Clinic. And that material was also aligned to socio-emotional learning skills competencies. So activity 1.4, again, technical review with the materials that we designed. And lastly, the translation into Burmese language. So in total, we have 20 sessions, 10 per language. So the last one is printing a developed contextualized MHPSS material, which we distributed to, we were able to reproduce 35 copies of this. So the next one is on SO2, which focused on the youth population from a partner organization is capacitated to conduct MHPSS. No, so in this regard, we have 2
activities under this. So we were able to conduct the sessions, no, in our, we were able to conduct capacity building to our partner youths. So, and then for specific objective number three, it is the actual conduct of giving the opportunity for our trained youths to truly conduct the sessions with children. And during this time, we were able to also collect their feedback. And so there were, again, 2 sessions conducted because of the limited time and resources as well. So there. And we also wanted to document these experiences, no, because again, we will not be on the ground for a long time. So we want the sustainability, and part of our sustainability plan is to work with different organizations. And right now, in fact, other organizations have already contacted our team to get those information so they can, people in need, they have already connected with us to, so that they can replicate, no, the project that the team had conducted in the area. So yeah, I will not go through them anymore. So I will proceed with the discussion part. So in this part, we tried, no, to give you how these findings relate to the review of related literatures that we have got for our project proposal. But due to the limited time, I will only focus on the theoretical framework, which is on the empowerment theory that was discussed to you earlier by May. So here, I will try, to connect how this empowerment theory reflects on the project that we have. So according to Zimmerman, empowerment, again, it's focused on 3 dimensions: individual, organizational, and community empowerment. He says that if you empower individual, it will support the organization to be empowered as well, and eventually to the community. So he also emphasized that it is both a process and outcome. So if we look into the co-production, co-benefits concept, it also is integrated and related with each other. So in this area, we only focus to an individual. Though it is individual, at the level of individual, we also expect that there will be a better outcome later on as we, if the project will continue or the program will continue in the community. So it was also supported by Stack, where he said, like, empowering youths with MHPS's knowledge is essential in fostering a supportive and resilient environment. So based on the Endlines assessment that we have conducted, it was shown that these youths, based on their feedback, they felt that they are empowered because at the beginning they do not know how to handle children, they do not know about MHPSS, they didn't have anything. But here we are, they are claiming to have being able to be empowered, and they are also they told us that they are already confident in conducting sessions with children, and that they are also willing to do the sessions later on, even in their own communities. So I would just like to emphasize that these are all the relation between the empowerment and the outcomes of our project. So youth participation in training entails empowerment, belonging, and a sense of responsibility for community improvement. They were able to mobilize the children due to their ability to get their trust. Youth facilitators felt empowered as they are able to understand themselves and being able to enhance their problem-solving skills. So this is proves that the empowerment theory of Zimmerman is somehow reflected in the project that we have conducted. However, the limitation of this project has a lot. So again, Zimmerman was pointing 3 concepts or three levels, of empowerment. But because of the limitations of this project, we were only able to conduct at the individual level. So I want to emphasize that in order for this theory to become more more effective or reliable later on for this kind of program. We wanted to see the impact of this project later on by looking into the organizational level and the community level. So these challenges also, we also face challenges, for example, attaining consent from parents, co-production of session guide with youths, because we only work with the organizations, and financial constraints. That is also one, but we were able to address this by working with our partner organizations. And gender inclusion, because there was only like a limited number, like there's no balance of the gender participation. So that's all for outcomes and analysis. I would like to request my, okay. So just to conclude again, we want this to be sustainable, and if we want to really look into the impact level, because this is only the outcomes and everything is only at the output and the outcome level. So if we want to measure the impact level, we need more support. No, like we want this program to be implemented and finished. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now we see how, how even if you're very, very passionate about something, as the team demonstrated, we are constrained by time. So they also had to end, even if it seemed like they were, they wanted to say a lot more about the project. But now maybe we can hear from Dr. Glenda, who will be joining us online. Maybe Doc Glens, some comments about the presentation.
Hello again. Yeah, so first of all, congratulations to the students. So it's a very comprehensive paper, and I would say it's very long. So I don't know how are you going to revise this later, given maybe the word number limit requirements of your capstone project. But yeah, the paper was very comprehensive. Like, I commend you for all the hard work that you put into writing the paper and doing your project. So yeah, so I really like it. It provided a very comprehensive discussions regarding the context of the problem, the political conflict that led to the refugee problem, and also very detailed discussion on how you implemented the project. And yeah, literature review is very comprehensive, especially on the issue of migration and the push factors that result in the refugee problem in your area of study. And I really like it also that you provided a very good framework and very good discussion of the framework of empowerment by Zimmerman. And what I like about your paper is that you connected your conceptualization of empowerment to how you conceptualize your project and activities that you intended to do. You connected all this to the empowerment framework of Zimmerman that you discuss in your paper. Even your analysis, like even when you're writing the analysis, you still went back to the to Zimmerman's empowerment. So that's a strength of your paper that I like as well. And also very clear laying out of the objectives of the project. And then for each project, you put a subsection in your paper for each objective. You discuss what you did in the project and the results of your intervention for each objective that you set out to do for your paper. And one more thing is that I was amazed about all the hard work that you did, and I don't know how much time you put into this, because you didn't just stop at training the youth. It's like you even oversaw how the youth conducted the training to the school children, to the students, and even gathered the feedback from the children as well. And yeah, so given all these positives of your paper, and yeah, I really commend you for your hard work and very good quality of your paper. I just have some very minor comments on areas to improve on your paper. So you just discuss the quantitative results of your training feedback. But from your presentation, like I can reckon that you did qualitative interviews as well. So if you could put that in your paper discussion, so what you gathered from your interviews, because I think the qualitative analysis of the assessment would really enrich um, your discussion on the feedback from your training participants. And another concern is that some of the recommendations that are laid out in your paper, they're very generally stated without much meaning and usefulness, yeah, and very not very useful. For example, the recommendations that you wrote in there, you said that there's a need to strengthen community awareness of MHPSS, and also a need to develop more MHPSS session guides that have strong peace messages to promote peace and reconciliation in the community. So these are very general statements. So I would recommend that you should put more specific courses of action to be undertaken to make them more useful to your stakeholders. And as you mentioned in your presentation and in your paper, the youth training sessions should be conducted for other groups as well. But then you are definitely constrained by resources. I don't know, perhaps you can recommend on making the materials available online, and making them online friendly to make them accessible to wider audience and to a bigger number of stakeholders. I don't know, this is something that you can think about in your recommendations. And also, your paper need a bit of editing. For example, the word hideous, like you wrote in your paper that you cannot locate the parents of the school children to get their consent for your children to participate in your research because the parents are hideous. So it's a wrong choice of word. So you go back to your paper and do some editing on it. And another minor recommendation is the pagination of your paper should be continuous. Okay, so that's all for me. So congratulations again.
Very, very thorough, encouraging, and also hopefully not hideous comments. Okay, so I hope that you'll take all of that in. Dr. Wee had a lot of good things to say about your work. And I think Dr. Tanya, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I will make it quick because we are meeting and discussing and we will continue with this. First of all, congratulations for the presentation, and also in view of the really tight program time. And this is also counts also for all the groups here. It's really impressive, the outcome. And yeah, you have heard from Dr. Lander the positive also reception. And I just want to have just one question. What would you change if you would start again?
Thank you for that wonderful question. for for our team, actually, we believe that we did our best, and it's always everything. Even if you have a wonderful plans, it will always be changed and challenged. And for that fact, I think, and I believe, and we believe that we won't change anything. And they have another more.
Actually, from our side, from the side of the teammates, we don't really. I think we are really satisfied with what we have done. But the only thing is, like, if we have more time on, like, if we can be there like maybe more than a month, because we were there only for a month, if we could be there more than like 2 months, we can collaborate more with the organizations. And also that's the feedback from some of the organizations that they wanted to have like more face-to-face meetings. So if we have more financial resources, maybe we could have done. Yeah.
Actually, I don't want to, as my roommate mentioned, I also don't want to change anything because I'm really satisfied with our teamwork and everything, all the effort we put in, because we really try our best. But like some of the comments we receive from the user, like because of the like financial constraint, we cannot provide like everything like they want. Like some of them mentioned that like because we cannot like rent the hotel rooms or anything, so like some of them we just have to conduct in the training in the school. So they mentioned the space is a bit like crowded and narrow, so like they cannot concentrate a lot. So like Aka mentioned, we were like reaching to a lot of different organizations like before starting the project, but we wish we really have a enough time to, because like in the last minute, like there is one organization who want to provide us like fundings, but if the time is, if we have more time, I think we might be able to get the grant from them, but since that there is a time constraint, so we want more times. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That was all. We don't steal the time from the others. So.
Thank you, and congratulations. But please stay on for a while for your photo with Dr. Tanya. Okay. Maybe you can join them on stage, Prof. Dr. Tanya, and then maybe Doc Glens can also be, yeah, get ready. Okay. Maybe with the advisors first? Sige. Sige, okay. Maybe with Dr. Glenda also, and then maybe they can remain on stage with Dr. Tanya. Sorry, with Dr. Glenda ulit. Okay, sige. Okay. Okay, thank you. And then with Dr. Tanya and the team. Okay, Rem. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sir Rem. Later, we'll see you again. Okay, thank you. Okay. So, the only two things keeping us from lunch are the two presentations we have left from this for this morning. So may we invite our next presenters who will be talking about their project on digital storytelling for sustainable youth advocacy and sexual and reproductive health and rights promotion in Palawan, the Philippines. May we call on Nguyen Mai Chi, Oshan Madushanka Gunathilk, and Yoshi Suzuki to please join us here on stage. And may we also call again Dr. Willis here, Dr. Nino. Okay, Dr. Nino Leviste and Dr. Mary Racelis. If you can, please. Thank you for joining us on stage. Okay. So we have 30 minutes for this. So 15 minutes for the presentation and again 15 minutes for the interlocution. Okay? Great.
Good morning, everyone. Our capstone project title is Digital Storytelling for Sustainable Youth Advocacy and Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Promotion in Palawan, the Philippines. Our group members are Oshan, Yoshi, and me, Maichi. this is the flow of our presentation today. So we will first go with the context and the problem that we focus on, and how we design and we implemented our project. What is the impact and the major findings of our project, and then lastly the conclusion. So the first part is the contextual background. Our project location is in Palawan, the Philippines. So as you may know, this province is famous for its tourist destination, but at the same time, in some area still have limited access to basic services.
So based on the findings of the community consultations, we are using a participatory learning approach to design a capacity sharing workshop to empower the youth community with sustainable youth advocacy approaches. And then our final activity, the youth-led advocacy campaign, is a place where the youth advocates who got these learnings and resources to apply them in real life. So they are using this experiential learning approach to kind of put into practice what they learned. So the project implementation stages will be discussed by Yoshi.
So our project involves three major activities, and I would like to highlight core aspect of each activities. The first activity we initiated was the conduct of focus group discussion. These discussions were significant in enabling us to understand the needs and context in the community. Through multiple meetings and interaction with the youth team members of LOH, we developed a deep understanding of their organization, its vision, knowledge, and challenges. Engaging with the youth advocate was also equally enlightening. We organized 4 offline meetings and 1 online session involving 21 young participants aged 16 to 25. These discussions revealed insights into their current advocacy work, exposing a lack of comprehensive understanding regarding advocacy and available resources. They also displayed unwavering ambitions and hopes for the future by expressing the strong desire for collaboration and support, not only from the government, but also from potential partners. Based on focus discussion, which highlighted the knowledge gap among the youth advocates regarding advocacy, we designed our second activity, capacity building workshop on sustainable youth advocacy. The workshop had 2 parts. The first was a lecture explaining the basic advocacy, and the second part involved 20 participants developing their advocacy plans, leading to the creation of 4 effective plans. This empowered them to contemplate collaborative action plans, adhering to co-production and participatory principles. We created a toolkit. This resource not only aligned the participants' understanding of advocacy, but also laid the groundwork for LOH to sustain the consistent training program in the future. The toolkit was a product of collaboration, drawing from previous studies, contextual adjustments, and also valuable inputs from the youth advocates. Here are sample pages from toolkit and templates used for the advocacy plans creation activities. In the third activities, we explored digital storytelling to enhance sustainable youth advocacy. Inspired by earlier focus group discussion, where the youth advocates expressed the keen interest in online platforms like Facebook and TikTok, we recognized their potential as alternative advocacy tool. To equip them with the necessary skill, we invited a digital storytelling expert who not only emphasized the importance of visual advocacy, but also provided hands-on guidance in shooting techniques. This practical session allowed them to create 5 impactful videos using mobile applications. Additionally, we facilitated a network building session connecting participants with community level decision makers. This connection aims to raise awareness among youth advocates about policy-making processes and foster more opportunities for collaboration between the youth and decision makers in their advocacy work. Our final activity is an ongoing youth-led digital storytelling campaign for SLHR. Currently, the youth advocates are in the process of developing their advocacy plans and storytelling script. Building on the knowledge and skills gained from previous workshop, the youth advocates are expected to lead their own campaigns in groups. While implementing, they will continue to receive support from both LOH and our team. This support comes in the form of mentorship, providing valuable feedback and guidance to help them succeed. So next presenter, Ocean, will conclude our presentation with outcome and findings. Over to you.
So in our outcomes and findings, this is a graph that depicts the transformational change that happened during the capacity sharing workshops. So this is based on our pre and post evaluation surveys that we did within the workshop. So in the blue color, you can see like where they were before, and in the orange color, you can see what kind of a transformation or change that happened in the capacity of understanding advocacy as a concept. And also you can see there's a heavy increase improvement in the areas of understanding local and regional policies and frameworks that support their advocacy work, and the concept of advocacy, and also sustainable impact, creating the sustainability within advocacy work. And our major outcomes, we are identifying three. First one, the empowerment of youth in SRHR advocacy through capacity sharing and skills building to increase their sustainable impact. Second one, development of skills in digital storytelling in the promotion of SRHR advocacy and similar contexts. And the third one is establishing valuable relationships with community stakeholders and decision makers through strategic networking. And our three major findings, quickly, the definition of advocacy is dependent on the needs and expectations of the individual. So even if the societal aspect of advocacy is very important for an organization to work on, the individual needs are also there that drives their interest in the promotion of their advocacy work. And the second one is the sustainable impact, or the opportunities of advocacy enjoyed by the youth are heavily influenced by the local affiliations and local community organizers. Because we saw in our context, the youth who are working on youth advocacy are only working in ground level awareness building, but not in decision making level. Like there's no engagement with decision makers, or there's no opportunities for them to engage with the current organization. So the organizational vision and strategy can also heavily influence the impact of sustainable advocacy. And the last one is digital storytelling can be identified as a more youth-friendly, safe and comfortable method of SRHR advocacy, because in their own words, they identified, if I'm talking about SRHR in my community, my parents or my community leaders will stigmatize me, but since they are not in Facebook or TikTok, it's safer for me to talk about it and I won't be criticized as much. So they feel more comfortable doing digital storytelling and social media based advocacy. So we identify for SRHR and similar controversial topics, this might be a good alternative. The conclusion and the way forward. I'll quickly finish this. So the way forward, this is mostly about our sustainability of the intervention. So the usage of digital storytelling as everyday practice for advocacy, passive action, and also a campaign tool. So we are hoping the youth advocates will combine their daily practices and interest in social media usage and digital tools using to connect with that advocacy element, and it will sustain that way. And the development of the toolkit will be used. The developed toolkit will be used as a advocacy element training resource by Roots of Health. So they will be able to educate the next generation of youth advocates in the similar way. And finally, the leveraging on the established networks and decision makers will help the youth advocates to build those relationships and collaboratively work on SRHR advocacy in Palawan in a sustainable manner. So yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Aichi, Yoshi, and Oshan. May we now call on maybe Dr. Mary or Dr. Willie? Would you like to go first?
Okay, thank you. Again, I'm happy to see what actually happened because both Dr. Nino and I, particularly, were involved as advisors or consultants for this particular project. Let me start by saying that all through, the two of us kept emphasizing that as an engaged co-production effort, you really have to be sure that Roots for Health, which is the partner organization, has incorporated this and as one of their main concerns. And I think you were, through a lot of collaborative discussion, you were able to do that, and it shows that in your report. But I wondered, as the digital storytelling, I must say, in all our consultations, this is the first time I've heard about digital storytelling. Maybe you never framed it that way then, but you now say this is really so crucial. It's even in your title. That's why when I saw the title, I said, didn't you do face-to-face? Because I thought that's what we were doing in this project, and you have answered that. But I would say for the project report, that you really have to explain digital storytelling more and maybe give an example, maybe give one story in the appendix or something so that we can see what is this, It's not just, as you have there, training the young people how to use cell phones for photographing, for filming effectively. I mean, these are the technology things, but what's the message that they're telling, right? Because that's what this is all about. You're trying to communicate a message. So how is that message now about SRHR being more effectively promoted because of digital storytelling? So give us an example, an actual example of that. That's the first. And the second is you talk about experiential learning. I think you need to clarify, did after or during or after the training, did some of these youth advocates whom you were training actually go and, in communities or with the youth whom they're trying to influence to test out some of what they learned in the toolkit? I think you should mention that if they did, and if they didn't, why not? Because I think on our experience in organizing any community for advocacy work, they have to be involved in an action thing. If it's all just learning, in a way, theorizing or theoretical learning without a connection that makes all of that understandable in an everyday sense, then we're not sure, did it make a difference? And that's what Dr. Torres keeps saying. Did it make will it or did it make a difference? I think you can explain if you say, was there an attempt to get those youth advocates actually to do it, which you supervised or which their youth staff attendants supervised? And if you were not able to do it, granted there usually not enough time, you should say so, right? But it's something that you would look forward to. So I think, and the ways forward, I think this applies not only to you, but I guess to all of the people here, as, again, because what Dr. Willie keeps saying, so what? Did it make a difference? Granted, you had a very short time, you got about that far, and then you're leaving the country, you're not being able to go back unless you're actually from the country. So can you incorporate into the final report at least a question or another interview with the Roots for Health, in your case, to get their views? And if you did, fine, but then you have to specify that. What did Roots for Health get from it? Was it just they were being nice because you're foreign students who want to know about the Philippines and you're interested in, SRHR? Did it go beyond that to say, wow, you really help with these toolkits? You assume it did. They were there. They mobilized a lot of people to attend, but can you go one step further and ask them, now that this is all done, what's going to happen? Are you planning to move forward? How? And so on. I think that's important. And whether they ever do it or not, at least did it make a difference for them? Right? So that would be what I would say.
Reading your paper, I like this paper. Let me tell you why I liked it. In doing your project, the process of doing your project, you're doing this practice. At the same time, you came out with findings. Okay. So, and in your findings, you sort of tried to explain your results, the results of your project, use some theories, right? Maslow's and who's that? Hart's ladder, etc. So it's interesting for me because usually you only have findings when you are, when you do research and you have findings. No? Your project sort of demonstrates that in doing projects, in doing interventions, you will also have findings. And what I like about this, you tried to shed light on your findings by going to theory. So that's why I like it. Second, so in your discussion, I find it, what do you call it? You sort of revealed the many challenges that you had, and you mentioned about some details. No, I really like the details you mentioned, like you had what do you call this? You had participants who were teenage mothers. They had to bring their children, and you discovered in your work that there was a gap between the health, what do you call this? The sangguniang kabataan and the gap with the health services given in the barangays or something like that. And because of these challenges, you actually sort of created, devised opportunities, and these challenges actually became, in devising ways to overcome these challenges, you actually enhance your program, your project. You highlighted these challenges, these two challenges, and you devise ways of overcoming it. In the process, it made your project even better, right? So I really like that. Your project showed, and the way you wrote it, you showed a lot of nuance in implementing your project. And when there's a lot of nuance, you considered all these things, it means you did your work well. So that's why I like it. Okay. So I guess, I maybe, no, of course, so of course your, what do you call this? Your toolkit is also clean. I really like it. Now, maybe I'm just curious about, like what Doc Mary said, no, about digital storytelling. And in fact, many of the projects that I've read here, I'm sort of curious, how did you come to decide on that project? Seems out of the blue. I have the impression that all of you choose your project sites because these are very scenic spots in the Philippines or in Indonesia, So tell a story of your engagement. How did you decide to eventually select this project, this topic, etc.? It would be nice for us to read about it. Okay. Okay. So I guess that's my only comment to this thing. 10 minutes? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Mary and Dr. Willie. I think maybe before we proceed to Dr. Levista's comments, maybe some responses from the team.
Okay. Okay. Maybe to answer Dr. Willie's question, I think we first, like three of us, we wanted to do something on youth empowerment, but we didn't have an idea like in which area, how can we do the empowerment part. So when we were reaching out to the implementation partners, we came across Roots of Health, and we were of course kind of interested because it's in Palawan. So we we were drawn to that, of course. But like even the initial idea was to kind of do a advocacy training, capacity sharing program, but we had no strong idea of doing exploring alternative methods of advocacy for them. We wanted to do something related to street photography, but once we went to the discussions with Roots of Health, and also when we went to the community and talked to the stakeholders there and the participants, we learned that there is a very inherent interest in story. They didn't use the word storytelling, of course, but they said like, can we do something like videos, films, or using social media platforms? That's what I like to do. Like that was very prominent responses we got from our youth consultations. So collecting these ideas and of course talking to the partner organization also, from our previous experience also, we realized, okay, what they're talking about is digital storytelling. So let's just do that. So that's how we ended up doing digital storytelling. So it was kind of something that developed along the implementation also, kind of, and it got solidified once we actually went to Palawan and started to implement the project. And should I also answer some of Prof. Mary's questions? I don't know if you have.
Do you have time? Okay. Sige, maybe in a minute, if you can do it, if you can tell the story in a minute, that would be good.
Okay. So I think when the experiential learning element, when it comes to the project, I think that happens in our last activity, which is the youth-led campaign, which is still ongoing actually. Of course, during the capacity sharing workshop, they practiced doing digital storytelling. We got them to form into groups and go outside and come up with a story, do something you like. Most of them came up with HR related topics, and also mental health and well-being related topics. And they, on that day itself, within like 2 hours, 3 hours time, they developed actual digital stories, like 2 minutes clips. We have 5 already developed 2 to 3 minutes video clips that they developed, which is really, really good actually. So we were also very surprised. Our resource person was also very surprised. But actual experiential learning, I think, like we think it will come during the campaign, but right now we are still ongoing with that. So there were some situations because most of them, like some of the participants were competing for the youth council elections, and also like there was some delays in the campaign. We are determined to carry it forward, and maybe in December we might be able to get it done.
Thank you. So we hope we also had time to maybe see some of the stories, but we don't have time at this point. So maybe Dr. Levista, would you like to close?
Brief comment and congratulatory message to the group. On a personal note, I'm proud of these students for the outcome and the output that they generated, given the amount of time that they were given. But first of all, the presentation and the paper are well crafted. Pretty comprehensive in terms of content, meticulous as well as far as methodology is concerned and how the process came about. Moving forward, and this is my comment, I think it would be great, and I would like to revolve around the concept of stories and relationships. After all, it's about storytelling, right? As you revise probably, or you further sharpen your paper, it might be good to include some anecdotes if possible, because we would like to get, a more comprehensive and organic sense of what those stories are. For example, when you introduced digital storytelling as a tool, how did your partners in Palawan react to it? Were they open to it? Was there reluctance or resistance on their part? Why or why not? And I would like to hear your voice as well. And probably, if it's possible, if there's still time to do it, reflections from your side as practitioners, as researchers as well. What did you learn from it? What are some major or notable takeaways that you can apply later on? So these are things that I think would be beneficial and would be helpful moving forward. Thank you and congratulations once again. Proud of you guys.
So thank you, Oshan, Maichi, and Yoshi. So please stay there for your photo with Dr. Leviste, and then Dr. Mary and Dr. Willie afterwards.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more, please. One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Are you selling us these photos later?
Okay, so thank you and congratulations once again to Team Palawan. So, okay, so we are now ready to, we're now ready for our final presentation this afternoon. And I'm very happy to welcome on stage for our very final presentation this morning, Amonat Noijin, to talk about her project, A Blueprint for Student Well-Being, crafting the activity plan for the Wellness Center at the Faculty of Law, Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. And may I invite Dr. Melis Navarra, here on the stage as an examiner. We will be joined by Dr. Fras Abaya and Dr. Glenda Wee, her primary advisor via Zoom online. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my capstone project, which is about a blueprint for student well-being by crafting activity for student plan at Chulalongkorn University and at the Faculty of Law. Did you know that law students reported higher stress, even higher than medical students? And it is the same with Thailand. Looking into undergrad students at Chulalongkorn University, a study in 2016 also indicated the same result, that students have very high stress coming from the demanding of their courses and also inadequate stress management. And that is why Chulalongkorn University That is why Chulalongkorn University decided to have Law Chula Wellness Project. And it started last year in April. And afterwards, it escalated into Law Chula Wellness Hub in March 2023. And they started to have the first student interest survey in May this year to identify what students need from the center. Therefore, what they're lacking is that crafting yearly activity plan for the student in order to support student well-being, since it is very new. That's why I decided to implement this one in collaboration with Law Jula Wellness Hub, and also by using the student interest survey that they did earlier. And for this, we are going to do the piloting sessions and activity in which after each activities and session, the Chulalongkorn Wellness will send the evaluation form for students, and then we use the feedback and evaluation from students to craft out the blueprint that we decided it will support and help students in dealing with stress coming from their studies. And also we expect it to be sustainability, that this plan could be crafted and improvised in the years to come. Looking at the student interest survey, students voiced that they wanted the activity that would be supportive of their mental health, relaxing, and then support the mindfulness. Also, they also voiced that they wanted to have the session on how, even if their grades are not good, but their life can still be good. And also about how to set life goal, because sometimes they feel lost, they're not sure what to do. So for this, for the objective is that we hope that the blueprint, the yearly activity plan, will help to teach the student on how to cope with stress, to promote mental health, to promote mindfulness, and to building rapport among students and between the student and the center. So the conceptual framework also reflected the same thing, that we want something to help supporting the mental health of the students. So this led to piloting sessions and activity. There are 4 activities and also 4 sessions. So for this activity, I also did something beyond my capstone project because I wanted to help them set up as well. So they made a special request for me to make some Facebook posts on suicide prevention, self-love, and adolescent mental health so that they could share afterward on their social media. I'm going to explain to you the beginning of this project and why did I do the guiding sessions and did posts. So the Wellness Center were aware of what I did before in the past, which is, for example, volunteering for 2 years with UNICEF Thailand on adolescent mental health, being a speaker on self-love, on depression and suicide prevention at University for Peace, Chiang Mai University, and for Burmese social worker with Anyang Institution, respectively. So initially, they contacted me because they wanted to ask me to be speaker on these sessions. However, when talking with them, I was aware of the problem that they still lack the system for the yearly activity plan, and they wanted to have one. Therefore, I proposed to them that this could be my capstone project, working with them together to create a yearly plan. These are the example of the posts that I made and they share on their social medias. So looking into the timeline, we started at the beginning of the academic year, which is August this year, straight into September, and then the first half of October. This is the student feedback. The entire evaluation form is entirely voluntary and only asked 2 personal questions, which is about the year and then the gender. Going into the first activity, is it plant pot painting. So for this activity, the student, each one of them will paint their pot and then they will plant some seed, and afterwards there are discussion on growth, comparing to the growth of flower and the supportive environment and with the growth of the student. The feedback said that they are very satisfied with it with a score of 4.9 from 5, and they mentioned that it varies supported them on thinking about self-awareness, and then they requested for a session on self-love and on coping obstacle. The next activity is the Press forward bookmark. This one also supported self-empowerment. On the bookmark that they make, they're also encouraged to write something that will cheer them up when they're studying or when they're reading a book. The feedback showed that they're also very satisfied with this activity and they like something that relaxing and also support relaxation and creativity. They requested for more activity like this. So this is the project that I proposed and led the activity. It's about heart healing cookie. So it's the activity that come right after the examination. It's about self-food. Each student will get to decorate some cookies, writing down their reflection after examination, and then in the group, they talk together about their think about the exam and how they self-food after challenges. So this way, not only they learn self-awareness, but they can also learning from their friends' experiences on how to cope with stress. They also said that they really like for more activities like this, for example, cake decorations, and they really like the cookies too. And looking into board game, this an ongoing activity is a very popular activity by observation. Most of the time they like playing Uno together in a group. And however, that only one student giving the feedback, and she said that she really liked the activity and she wished that the center would open for more hours. Now we're heading into the guiding sessions. So the Wellness Center requested me to do 4 guiding sessions with a warning. The warning is that they did some previous sessions before. However, sometimes there are no student attended. So it could be from 0 to 3 students attending session. That's what they want me so. So in the previous sessions, some speakers are quite well known and some speakers are in high authority. For example, the dean of the academia of their faculty themselves. But still, no student attended. So let's see how it goes with this one. First session is about suicide prevention. One student signed up, but he did not show up. So instead, I made a post about it. And then I talked with the Wellness Center, should we change from online session to on-site session? But they still insisted on online session because they felt like they could know for certain how many students would attend. So we move forward to the second session, which is about self-love. 2 students signed up and 2 students showed up. And they gave a comment verbally to the Wellness Center, which later passed to me that they really enjoyed the session and they wish more students had attended. I also made a post for this one. So after this activity, I decided to find out what happened, why so little students attend, although they put it in the student survey that they want the sessions like this. So I discussed with them during the activity and they mentioned that it's because their studies is already stressful. They don't want to sit down to another lecture. They don't want more sessions. I asked them, well, what can we do then? What can we support you that you still want to enjoy and participate and you will come? And they said that we could do like the auto activities. So not only about talking session, not only about sitting down, but they could do some art and craft and then do the discussions afterwards. So after that, the last 2 sessions were canceled. However, there one specific student who requested this session on setting life goal and COVID obstacle. That's why I did a one-on-one session with her. So for the previous activities, you see that I put the picture of the student because the Lodula Wellness Hub asked for permission first to post it online. But for this one, since it's personal, I censored her. Okay, let's take a look at the outcomes and finding. For all the activities, students reported highly satisfaction towards it, ranging from score of 4.8 to 4.9 out of scale of 5. And also, for the feedback, it indicated that they like art and craft activity. They like something that enjoyable, that they can do with friends, that easy, that they don't need to think much, but can be fun and use creativity. And they also like to have group session with their peers and their counselor afterwards. Therefore, talking about this, so as I mentioned before that for the session, it did not go very well. However, this the implementation of this capstone project able to identify the problem of the lack of audience for the session and then change it for the future reference. And it is the output of it. It is the blueprint that I crafted together with Lodula Wellness Center using student survey, piloting activities, feedback, and evaluation from them. This is the first page of it. So it has the detail of academic year and then the reliable sources that they can use to post for information because they have a lot of work, therefore they need some outside so they could post topics on mental health, adolescent, suicide prevention, for example. And after this, it's going to be a detailed calendar. So first, about what to do in each month, what to post in each month, what activity, and why. What will be the objective of each session, of each post. And after that, it is the table, which is quite detailed on the instruction and preparation, including the time spent on each activity. The highlight of this capstone project is that it's able to create a systematic blueprint that they not only use for this year, but for the upcoming years to come, and also address the problem of low attendance for sessions. The advantages is that there are no barrier about the culture or the language because it is my country and I'm also from this university as well. And the Wellness Center and the Dean of the faculty were very open for the implementation of the project. And students normally have positive attitude toward the Wellness Center already. And also I have experiences in something similar before. Looking at the challenges, although there are a lot of advantages, there's still challenges. For example, the feedback from students is entirely voluntary. So some activities receive very little feedback. And also some feedback we can only achieve through in person. For example, asking students why they're not attending the session. And also, we are aware that this feedback only came from the students who attended the activities and session. That's why for the further suggestion, we would suggest that the Wellness Center could gather information for the wider students. And the blueprint at this activity plan is subjected to change yearly, accordingly to student needs and wants. And also, they could further finding the nice time allocating between art and craft activity and then the discussion part. To conclude, this capstone project addressed the need to support the mental health of the student by creating a blueprint for yearly activity plan and also address the problem at low attendance for the session. And we hope that this plan will be a blueprint for the future as well for them to use to support student well-being and to help students manage stress, anxiety, and depression. Thank you very much, and I'm open to suggestions.
Thank you very much, Amonat. Very, very brave of you to stand up out there and share very passionately the results of your capstone project. So maybe we can hear from Dr. Melis before we proceed with Dr. Frass online and Dr. Glenda. With your questions.
Thank you, Amonat. Congratulations for doing everything on your own. Thank you for your bravery, for courage, boldness, also in standing in front and just you, on the stage. Yeah. So as we can see, the project really has urgency in it. You mentioned that the concern in mental health among law students in Thailand is even much higher than the medical students. So relevance is also very clear in this study. And also I like the way how you aligned this intervention with the national and local policies and endeavors. However, of course, there are improvements which you will still need to work on in the next 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Okay. Yeah. So first is the literature review. So I didn't really see any studies about mental health programs in institutions, how to carry it out with guided sessions. So this one is needed, because if it's guided session, then there should be science, in doing it, not just the perception of the recipients of the program. No? So you need to look for those related studies. Theoretical framework, you also need to come up with a theoretical framework, no, and also conceptual framework. So the theoretical framework will guide you, no, in the study. It will also help you explain, no, why you need these guided sessions, no. And of course, under theoretical framework, the conceptual framework. So if you can combine both, no, you wrote their conceptual framework, but then that's not a conceptual framework, that is an objective tree. No, so the conceptual framework should reflect the theories and concepts, no, their interrelationship towards, no, your intervention. Okay, so what are the concepts and theories, no, that guided you when you thought of this sessions, no, that you carried out with the students, no? You also need to evaluate the current programs, no, of the wellness center, no, that you're partnering with, no? So so that we can locate, no, your intervention in their sea of programs. For methodology, well, you also need to cite fundamental methodological principles. No? So what are the principles that guided you in the conduct of your methods? No? Is it co-production, co-benefits? No? Is it student-centeredness? Actually, you mentioned all those things. No? You just put them there in the methodology section and discuss them. No? There are also sections in the methodology that I think should be transferred to the results section, because they are already results of the activities that you did with your partners. Okay. You did gender analysis, so also do a discussion on the gender analysis that you carried out and the implications of this gender analysis results to your intervention. How did the results shape your intervention? And 5 quotations as qualitative evidence of the results of the session, because you cited numbers, very quantitative, but then what do they think about these sessions that you did with them? And if you can also attach as an appendix, a transcript, a sample transcript of the sessions, if you have a copy. And next is the discussion on how the guiding sessions were formulated, because you just discussed the sessions, but then what would be interesting in your project is that how did you come up with this sessions, with these guided sessions? How did you bring in science and also the inputs of the students and other partners, and how did you process all of these inputs? How did you come up with the decision that this one will prevail over other inputs? So better elaborate on that area. And you did survey. You run a survey. Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's a post-test and pre-test. So I think I see there. Okay, I'll just review later on. And of course, the annual plan, a separate section on the annual plan. And then if you have maybe a program on the annual plan, you can attach it as an appendix. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Melis. Maybe before you respond to the questions, maybe we can invite Dr. Fras Abaya to also share his comments or ask his questions. I think he's with us online. Afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Fras.
Afternoon na pala. Well, let me just say that Dr. Melis' comments and observations are very pointed, and there's not much to add. But nonetheless, I'd like to first underscore the fact that the student, I forgot the name, but I kind of like how you were able to situate yourself in that whole project. And to me, that's an example of being reflexive. And reflexivity is one of the traits in doing anything you want, right? I mean, your agenda as a student or whatever, your awareness of your own positionality is very important. And I'd like to commend you for that. And it gives me this, led me to the idea that precisely because of your positionality, much of your thinking is informed by psychology, right? And because your training is in educational psychology, and therefore there's valorization of the individual. And if I may sort of draw on, for example, sociology or anthropology, my inclination would be to look at the social origins of distress or social origins of, shall we say, broadly speaking, mental illness. Meaning to say that because your report also pointed out that one of the major sources of distress is the law school. And so I'm wondering how the Wellness Center has developed some kind of a coordination or conversation with the law school. And so just so they can address that issue and make the issue really a university issue, not just, you know, individuals suffering, et cetera, et cetera. I think the activities that you have put in place are fascinating. I mean, you've said you've gotten good results and stuff, but the attendance was very bad and so forth and so on. But again, this is because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, these are all palliative interventions. You're not, I mean, the whole wellness center should address the root causes of this, the social origins of distress. I think that's very important to underscore. And then lastly, I would like to say that your use of the concept of blueprint creates some, I would say, unintended consequence, because, you know, blueprint as a concept has been criticized heavily in the literature, because blueprint, and I would, for example, give one weakness of blueprint planning, and this is by Jones. Jones said that blueprint planning is as technical, clean, precise, comprehensive, but not flexible. But at the latter part of your presentation, you said that you're open to certain changes in the plan, but nonetheless, maybe you should rethink your use of the concept of blueprint, because it's been criticized by many scholars. It's like very top-down in its orientation. And I'll give you another quote. Blueprint approach is too uniform, not taking into account the socio-cultural environment, the particular circumstances in which the project implementation occurs, and the characteristics of the different clientele groups, for example, et cetera, et cetera. For me, it may help if you recalibrate or rethink your central concepts, like it's in the title. So, you know, blueprint might not be appropriate for you to deploy. That's it. Thank you. But I really was fascinated in going through your material. I know how creative you are, etc. And thank you for sharing your work.
Thank you, Dr. Fras. Would you like to say anything, Amanat, before we proceed to Dr. Glenda?
Thank you so much for your suggestions and comments. I will make sure to incorporate them in my manuscript. I would like to address some certain things. So, for example, since we have limited time to present, I actually mentioned some of the comments already in my presentation and also in my manuscript. For example, the approach that I use would be participatory and student-led and student-centered as well. And as why I showed those 4 guiding sessions, I didn't. The one who chose and proposed for me to do this guiding session sessions is the wellness center, using the student survey and also a student voice, and also form the counselor. So for the counselor, she did a lot of private sessions, so she knew what kind of session that student needed, that they didn't put it on student interest survey as well. That's why they requested sessions such as suicide prevention and self-love. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Glenda. Would
Yeah.
you like to also have your questions, comments?
Yeah, I just have like 3 minutes left. I saw the advice. Yeah, did I was just wondering because the initial draft that Amonat gave to the panel members is the shortened version. So I told her to give the panelists the more comprehensive papers. I was just wondering if the panelists were able to see the more comprehensive version of the paper, like a 40-page paper, and not the 12-page paper that she initially gave to the panelists. And some of the comments that were raised today were already were addressed in the 40-page plus paper that Amonat prepared for her project. But yeah, I've taken note of all the comments from Dr. Melis. So I'm going to discuss this with Amonat and go back to her 40-page paper and then see through like how are these comments were already addressed or still have to be worked on. And Dr. Pras, so thank you so much. So the blueprint, definitely it needs a rethinking. I'm going to discuss with Amonat on how are we going to come up with a better title for the paper to more capture what is it all about. And yeah, thank you for pointing out that it's blueprint is a very problematic term. So definitely we're going to remove blueprint in the title and make a more sociological analysis on the paper, like how does the wellness center having this conversation with the law school in order to also look at how to address the root cause of the problem. And maybe maybe you're right, like all of these training sessions will just be palliative if not like a deeper, more meaningful conversations would happen at the institutional level. So the Wellness Center having conversation with the law school. And Dr. Melis, thank you so much for all your comments. So theoretical framework need to be strengthened and more evaluations of the programs of the Wellness Center. So even though they tapped Amonat to do these guiding sessions with them, like Amonat as an independent researcher should also have her analysis of what's really happening in the current programs of the Wellness Center and why it is not making a lot of impact on the students. Yeah, methodology, some of the discussions in the methodology are already the results of the project, and hence they will have to be transferred to the result sections. I think qualitative assessments, you have all this already, Amonat. So yeah, we go back to your paper and how are we going to see this stuff to come out? Separate section on for the annual plan. Yeah, Amonat has this. Maybe she wasn't just able to really call your attention to this part of her paper. Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Fras, Dr. Milicia. Yeah, I've taken note of all your comments, and Amonat and I are going to work on her paper for revision. Yeah,
Thank you, Doc Renz. I think Amonat has maybe 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. I would like to quickly address one thing is that this Law Jula Wellness Center is the center inside the Faculty of Law to support law students especially. So in the wider university, they have another center to support it more than 10 years already. So that this one, they know the urgency of this faculty, only this faculty in the whole university. That's why they decided to have this wellness center. Thank you so much. And very thank you for your support for Dr. Glenda, Dr. Melis, and everyone here. I'm really proud of this project, and I'm really thankful for your support to this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amonat. So please stand up while Dr. Dr. Glenn is on stage, on cam. Maybe you can have a twinning photo. Okay, and then with Dr. Fras and Dr. Melis, please. Okay, so thank you everyone for sitting through this morning's sessions. It's nearly 1 o'clock, so we will be breaking for lunch. We will be meeting again in what, 45 minutes. Okay, so let's keep lunch quick. And then this afternoon, we will proceed with the afternoon sessions. We will be joined by somebody from the law institution also. Attorney Justin Torres will be joining us this afternoon. Lunch is at CTC 413. So please follow our, Miss Isa? Okay, sige. She will lead us to lunch. Okay, thank you everyone and congratulations to all of you. Okay.